Yes, it's part of the magic.
Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Good, and I'm joined as ever by my Japanese tourism buddy. It is Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, we are mere weeks away now from Dream Queendom from Japan and the trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, you're not kidding, buddy. Literally something that I've kind of been waiting for ever since I was a teenager, and I'm in my 40s, so that's been a few weeks. But obviously, about a month or so ago, we got the tickets for Dream Queendom, Wrestle Kingdom, and as well as the Tokyo Joshi Pro Show on January 4th, just before Wrestle Kingdom 20. Sold out Tokyo Dome, by the way.
Indeed.
When sold
Indeed.
out Tokyo. Well, I'm going to take credit for that. We sold out the Tokyo Dome by our mere presence.
Absolutely.
By paying for tickets. But however, probably the hardest part was taken care of, not by me, but by my wonderful wife, who spent, I can't even tell you how many countless of hours making sure we were in the right place, where we need to get the bullet train. Obviously, we're going to a country neither of us have been before. We don't speak the language, but she made sure we got all the great deals and basically have our hotel prop kind of right in the middle of where we need to be for the Tokyo Dome and Korakuen Hall and Ryogoku Kakakigan. But the flights are booked, hotels are booked, my friend. All left to do is just waiting. And may as well do some podcasting while we're waiting over these next 3 weeks, buddy. But
why the hell not?
Why not, buddy? Why not? How is everything on your neck of the woods? We actually had a snow day today. It snowed.
Oh, wow.
We had our first snowfall of the season today. So nice little work from home day today. So I got a lot of loose ends tied up as I'm trying to work ahead, since I will be away from work for about 2 weeks. So not sad about that at all. Not going to lie, not sad about that at all. But how's everything in your neck of the woods, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. We didn't have a snow day. We had one of thousands rainy days. But apart from that, it's been, it's the run up to Christmas. So everything is slightly busier than normal. But yeah, excited. As I mentioned, obviously flights, hotel, as you mentioned, are booked. I think I was having a look the other day because my check-in isn't until about 4 hours after I've landed. I was like, "Ooh, I'll go and have a look around." We are a 6-minute walk away from Shinjuku Face.
Wow. And that's where the Stardom show is on the 3rd?
That's where the Stardom show is on the 3rd. It's also where the Marigold New Year's Eve show is. And again, depending on what time I get there, presuming flights are not delayed, where Yu's produce show is. Although I think I might be sold out now.
You find a way in, my man. Who knows? Figure it out. You know what I mean?
Sneak absolutely.
Yeah, like in Wayne's World with the press passes.
There you go. Absolutely. Just wave a random pass at them. Yeah, it's definitely press.
I'll give you one of my my New York Comic Con badges. Still no, they're all anime
Never know
characters.
the difference.
Yeah, they're either anime characters or Walking Dead characters that Reed Pop gives you. So there you go, blend right in, buddy. It's either a zombie or a fancy cartoon character.
So yeah, that was very exciting. Obviously, just having a look around now and seeing where everything is in relation to us, and then just settling down, getting excited. Obviously, Stardom have announced their latest Korakuen Hall show for the 8th of December. That's been announced in full. We've had some returns to talk about as well. We are going to go through the last 3 shows of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. We now have, by the way, brand new Goddesses of Stardom champions, and we'll talk about that, not tag team champions as in the tag league winners. We'll talk about a bit of Tokyo Comic Con because they have announced 2 Stardom matches for that, as they often do. We have got more matches announced for Dream Queendom. Lots and lots to talk about today, Matt. And then obviously our top 5s in regard to this tournament, our MVPs, our breakout stars, and our matches as well. So lots and lots to talk about indeed. And just thank you to everyone for bearing with us. Obviously, our last Stardom Cast episode was the Frankenstein episode, the dreaded Frankenstein episode, where myself and Matt have to sort of hodgepodge our parts together. But again, it was Thanksgiving, and despite Matt's best efforts, I didn't want him podcasting on Thanksgiving, which he still did anyway, just
Two.
not with me.
2 episodes. Yeah, I did talk Joshi because I know Header was out and about with his girlfriend on Friday. So I was like, I may as well get done on Thursday. Then I got done recording and I was like, I may as well get some other our Patreon stuff up. So I did that as well. And again, I told you the reason why. It was as soon as I came home from the gym, Amber was like, everybody needs to stay out of the kitchen, which is pretty much majority of my downstairs. So we know because she's in cooking mode, she is in cooking mode. So I'm like,
You
well,
keep the hell away.
yes, and I know the deal. I know how to it doesn't take much to make my wife happy. Just stay out of the way. And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna check my room and watch wrestling. I'm like, while I'm here, I may as well bang out a couple episodes. But you know, and that hey, that's what happened. Thanksgiving, by the way, was fantastic. I know. Thank you, Rob, to you and Kirsty, who sent us some nice Thanksgiving messages. And I didn't realize that Kirsty didn't know, other than turkey, what else is usually served on a traditional Thanksgiving meal.
No,
And then you got the full menu. Amber gave
we
you the
did.
full menu, and I'm sure you guys were like, "Wowzers!" That's why I
And
need
guest
this.
list as well, just to illustrate just how many people were actually in attendance for this thing. It was a military operation.
Yeah, and then we went over to my grandfather's for dessert, which is second dessert because we have dessert right after dinner at my sister-in-law's. So we drive the hour down to where my family's at in Old Forge, Pennsylvania. So it was me, Lily, my daughter Lily, my wife Amber, my mom, my dad, and my grandfather. So there was so 6 of us, and we had 7 pies. So just in case anybody was going hungry, which never happens. So
No, I didn't think for a moment that there will be anyone hungry, especially when you sent me the picture of the dozens of pies that were made. So just made me insanely jealous. So no, I'm glad you had a lovely time, my friend. And I'm glad that obviously you were able to spend some time with family as well, even if you did still manage to bang out podcasts, which just goes to show the dedication.
I got it
you,
all
sir.
in, buddy. I got the gym in, I got 2 podcasts in, I got family time, and also a mission, folks, for Japan. Rob told us he has never had pumpkin
I
pie
have not.
before, so we need to see maybe we can find like an American style diner because pumpkin pie, even though you can have it all year round, because why not? Pumpkin pie is pretty much a Thanksgiving to New Year's tradition here in the States. So we will be there for the New Year. So that is one of my many missions, my friend, is try to get you a slice of pumpkin pie. Now, I can't guarantee it's going to be good as my mom's that I grew up with or as good as Amber's, but I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get you a slice of pumpkin pie while we're slamming some Sapporo beers and layering random people in the streets. No, that last thing's not going to happen. I don't want to get fined.
Depends how many Sapporo beers have been consumed, I suppose. But anyway, Matt, let's sort of bring this screeching back to Stardom somewhat, because you did mention the Patreon, and I think this is as good a time as any to talk about what's coming up on the Patreon this week, good sir.
Rob, we are in the month of December. For you longtime Patreon members, you remember every December we have a Christmas theme because I love Christmas and I love Stardom. A few years ago, we had a Merry Azumi Christmas. We had I'm getting ahead of myself. A few years ago, we had a Merry Mayu Christmas. Last year, we had a Merry Shuri Christmas. This year, we're having a Merry Azumi Christmas, a MAC, M-A-C. So we actually dropped our first episode just this Monday, alternate commentary. I go back and call the action from the 2022 5-star Grand Prix as Azumi takes on Utami Hayashishita. Match I have not seen in quite some time. A really, really hidden gem of a match, and ultimately what is my all-time favorite 5-star Grand Prix, the 2022 5-star Grand Prix. And then coming up this weekend, obviously, card subject to change, but right now I'm scheduled to record with Andy Header, and coming up on your feed this weekend for you Patreon members, myself and Andy Header are going to be doing a roundtable discussion of our top 10 personal all-time favorite Azumi matches. So that'll be on the Patreon feed this weekend. And then, of course, this whole entire month, we're doing a tribute to the high-speed bomb girl, the AI wrestler, as I'm now calling her, one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling, one Azumi. So, of course, alternate commentaries, roundtable discussions. Our what if is going to be what if Azumi did win this year's 5-star Grand Prix and how myself and Andy Header would book her. I do have a complete review of Azumi's 2025 5-star Grand Prix run as well that will be dropping in the next few weeks. So yes, this entire month, we're going to wish everybody a Merry Azumi Christmas.
I think if you want to make that that round table with Andy Header more interesting. Not necessarily not that it's interesting, obviously, but if you want to make it really interesting, I think you should only be allowed to pick one match with Starlight Kid. Ooh.
Or I might do that one, the one we did years ago at me, you and Allison Danger that for my all-time favorite women's matches, my number one was the Mayu and Io trilogy, and you got really mad at me on there and started yelling at me. You can't do that. I'm like, it's my list. Maybe that's what I'll do. Because there's
Just
so many.
all of Azumi and Starlight Kid in one.
There's like 4 of them off the top of my head. The 2 high-speed championship matches and the 2 matches from this year, the Wonder match and then the
5-star match.
Yeah, the Wonder match though, I think is because it's more psychology and selling involved. That kind of goes above. But maybe that's what I'll do, Rob. I'll put all 4 in one just to tick you off.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Driving to work, it's raining, it's cold, I'm stuck in traffic, my tea's cold, and Matt's lumped every Starlight Kid and Azumi match together to save his own list. Honestly, what has the world come to?
Speaking of Azumi versus Starlight Kid, if you go back through the archives, I have done a full review of every single Azumi versus Starlight Kid match up until this year. So I think I put that on the Patreon feed about a year or so ago. So again, as I always say, partner, not only great stuff this week, great stuff coming up next week, next month, and the back catalog of stuff that we have released over the last 4 years is unbelievable. And you can literally get it for pennies per day, or now nickels. Starting next year, nickels on the day as the pennies will seek to his. Which for some reason I keep bringing up each and every week. I'm still
honestly, this is the most anyone has ever heard of this. There are Americans listening to this going, "Say what? What's happening? Say what?"
Yeah, exactly. Now you're getting your currency news. You're getting your Joshi news and your currency news and what random dessert I'm going to be having depending that time of the year. We're all here on the Stardom. It's like your one-stop shop, buddy. That's what this is.
Absolutely. Again, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for a whole host of bonus episodes, as well as archived episodes of the Stardom Cast, Marigold Standard, and Talk Joshi, as well as all of our bite-sized show reviews and show previews as well. So make sure you go and check that out. I can't remember if I did this on the last episode because it has been a long time since myself and you have recorded together. Well, the Stardom Cast anyway, we recorded yesterday to do the Marigold Standard, but you know what I mean. I just want to give a huge shout out to our latest patron, Luke Bacon. So hello, Luke. Thank you very much for your support. We truly appreciate it. Let's kick into some Stardom news then, Matt, and perhaps the second biggest piece of news to come out of Stardom, but there is a reason I've started with this, is that we have sort of got more of an idea of what Dream Queendom 2025 is going to look like. So at Ryogoku Kokugikan on the 29th of December, we already knew the red belt scene. It was going to be Saya Kamatani against Sourei Ano. We also know that Fuwa-chan is going to be in action in some sort of match. However, following the shows that we are going to talk about today, so again, if you haven't watched the shows, don't listen to this podcast yet. Come back to it after you've watched the shows, or at least you know the results.
Or what do I always say, partner? Watch the shows while you're listening to the podcast. You know what I mean? Get the best of both worlds.
Audio companion. There you go. So again, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be spoilers, but we do now have 2 more title matches that have been added to that card. So obviously, again, I'm going to let you skip over this. So if you haven't already, be warned, there are spoilers ahead. Our Goddess of Stardom Tag League winners, Saya Karora, are going to officially be challenging BMI 2000 at Dream Queendom. That match is now confirmed. And then a little bit of an interesting one, this one, Matt. So Konami will be defending the Wonder of Stardom Championship, but she will be defending it against the winner of Saya Iida and Ami Sourei. Now, that number 1 contendership match is due to take place on the 8th of December, Korakuen Hall show. That card has been announced in full with some really quite pleasant surprises. We'll talk about that in a moment. But let's start with the tag team match, the Goddess of Stardom Championship match, and then we'll get into the Konami, Saya Iida, and Ami Sourei triangle. But I think ultimately Saya Karora were the right winners for the championships, for the tag league anyway. I think it was probably between them and Bozilla and Akira Kurogane. But you are very much running a Cosmic Angels versus Hate sort of storyline here. And I think Saya Karora are an incredibly endearing babyface team. You have got BMI 2000, who are your quintessential heel team. They're dominant monsters. Again, they went through to the finals of the tag league and got beaten by Asaya Karora, so they are out for blood. Obviously, there is history between, especially Sayaka Karora and members of Hate. So I think that is going to be a very, very good match, especially if the tag league final is anything to go by, because a very, very hot Hamamatsu crowd got really, really behind Saya Karora. Then we have the Wonder of Stardom picture. Now, both myself and you, Matt, had got different people in mind for this. You obviously thought that it was going to be Konami versus Starlight Kid 3. I was of the opinion that it was going to be Konami and Hanan. Now, similar to the Goddess of Stardom Tag League announcements, which were done very, very last minute, we both feel that that might have been something to do with the injuries and sort of seeing how Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid would be. I do wonder if this has been a pivot from the original plans. Obviously, we still don't know a return date for Starlight Kid or for Hanan. Maybe this wasn't the initial plan, because in terms of initial plans, there's not a lot of heat between Konami and Amisori, or indeed Konami and Iida. And we both pegged these for pre-Dream Queendom title defenses. Now, the match itself, whoever it's going to be, is going to be great. Konami is doing very, very good work, probably the best work she's done since her return from hiatus, I would say. Obviously, Amisori's great. Iida, I am really, really hoping it's Iida that wins. No disrespect to Ami, but I just want Iida to have that opportunity. She deserves that opportunity. She's earned that opportunity. But yeah, it's not necessarily the match that I'd have put on the biggest card of the year necessarily.
It's really weird. And again, before I say what I'm going to say, I don't want to be disrespectful to any of these three ladies. I'm a massive fan of Konami, massive fan of Iida and Ami Sourei as well. And whatever way these matches goes, obviously the match in Korakuen Hall coming up this Monday, the #1 contendership, if it's going to be anything like their 5-star Grand Prix match between Iida and Ami Sourei, we are in for a treat, because it's going to be fantastic. And whoever it's Konami versus Ami or Konami versus Iida, Rob, this is my style of match. The submissions, the strikes, the hard hitting, the firing up, just the great back and forth we're going to see. This is my style of match. If you take a step back, since Stardom started doing these two big shows, like your two main shows per year, which pretty much started in 2021. 2021, we had All-Star Dream Cinderella, and then we had Dream Queendom. And then 2022, we had World Climax, Dream Queendom. And then the last 3 years, we have had All-Star Grand Queendom and Dream Queendom. Your red belt match and white belt match have had the biggest of stars on them, between Sai Kamatani and Tam Nakano and Julia and Utami Hayashishita. And even last year, I mean, what a great 1-2 punch with Natsupoi, Starlight Kid, and then Tam and Sai Kamatani. So it's like not only are you getting phenomenal matches, but your star power is main event level star power. Where this one, again, great wrestlers, next level wrestlers, no matter who is going to come out of Korakuen Hall as the #1 contender. We know we're going to get a great professional wrestling match. But the star power as compared to a Starlight Kid or Natsupoi or Soriano and Mirai in the years past is a little bit lower, in my opinion. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. It's just the star power we've seen on the Wonder of Stardom Championship, seen on these major shows, or major star power level. However, maybe Stardom looking at this and saying, like, look, Kamatani and Soriano and basically the Stardom name pretty much sold this house already. This is an opportunity where we can take somebody that has dabbled in the main event scene before and give them a big match in front of, whether it's going to be 4,500, 5,000 people. I know me and you are both of the same kin. It's probably going to be closer to 5,000 tickets sold. And they can go out there and they can have new eyes on them and say, ooh, Ami Sourei is your next main eventer. She can, if she walks out of this show on the 29th as the Wonder Champion, I'm just using for example, we can put her on Korakuen Hall shows defending that Wonder Stardom Championship on the main event. And they could do that 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, because this championship match is going to be in front of almost 5,000 people, give or take. So maybe that's the way that they're looking at it. Give somebody an opportunity to get to that Starlight Kid level, to get to that Momo Watanabe level, to get to that Natsupoi Soriano level. I mean, again, I always say, like, you don't know what can happen until you give somebody the opportunity. And this is a huge opportunity. Konami's been in big matches for years and years and years. Saya Iida as well, Ami Sourei as well. And Ami Sourei's been on a completely another level, not only in ring, but star power since her return from injury earlier this year. And what a great run she had in the 5-star Grand Prix. So this, to me, whatever matchup that we get at Dream Queendom, whether it's Konami versus Iida or Konami versus Ami Sourei, and again, these three ladies have had a lot of really big matches. This is going to be, especially Konami, this is going to be the biggest match in their respective career, because ultimately, Rob, this could be the third biggest house Stardom has ever drawn. I know you're already going to the Yuzuki Ayakawa retirement, where they had 84,000 people. Because again, if you're looking at attendance, number one was All-Star Grand Queendom this year, 7,500. And then we had All-Star Grand Queendom 2 years ago, 5,500. And again, we think this is probably going to be around the 5,000 mark. So this could possibly be, your semi-main event match in front of the third largest crowd in the near 15-year history of Stardom. So kind of looking at the positive side of it, give these three ladies an opportunity that they absolutely have earned to get into that constant main event spot. So I know the match is going to be great because similar styles make fights, Rob, and all three of these ladies have similar styles. I'm really excited for that main event. I believe they did name it the main event for the Korakuen Hall show on Monday. So then the winner gets Konami. Now the interesting thing is, me and you didn't think Konami was going to walk out of Dream Queendom as the Wonder Stardom champion because we thought it was going to be their Hanan or Starlight Kid. But considering the fact this is Konami's V1, do they have her hold the belt for almost 2 months and then lose it without a successful defense? Really, that's a really tough one because I think we know the way the main event's going to go. We know two things.
Yeah,
One,
sure.
we know three things. One, the entrances alone, it's going to be 5 stars, just in the entrances alone. Two, it's going to be a phenomenal match. And three, Kamatani more than likely is retaining. I don't know which way this one's going to go. I don't know which way this one's going to go because if this was Konami, she had the belt for 3 or 4 months and had 2 or 3 defenses. I would say they're probably going to change it to one of the baby faces, on the semi-main event. But considering it's her V1, and I know they did it with Tora last year, but I don't know, which is going to make it even interesting. Again, kudos to Stardom. Like, hey, let's try something new because we could have put Starlight Kid in this situation. We could put Hanan in this situation. We could have put Azumi in this situation. They should have put Hazuki in that situation. Another story for another day. But it's like, let's try something different. Konami's having, in my opinion, probably the best year in her career. Saya Iida had a great first 6 months with her and Hanan as the tag team champions. Obviously, Hanan got injured. Saya Iida still was great in the Goddess tournament with B. Priestley, great in the 5-star, and Ami Sourei, ever since coming back earlier this summer, has been an absolute another level. So this is a really big opportunity to elevate one of, if not both of these ladies, to get them into a constant main event scene. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this one shakes out. And Ryogoku Kakakegan, my friend.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. I don't think Konami gets a V0. I think the chances are she will retain over whichever woman it is that wins at Korakuen Hall. I've got a feeling it might be Saya Iida, simply because once Konami beats Saya Iida then at Dream Queendom, Hanan will come out. I have a feeling that that's probably what's going to happen if Hanan isn't quite fit enough to take part of Dream Queen. Now, we might be proved completely wrong and they announced Hanan in a 6-woman with B. Priestley and Uriah Hemi. And maybe she's just not quite going to be match ready for a high stakes singles match in Ryogoku. Same Starlight Kid. It is worth pointing out that Stardom have thrown curveballs at us with white belt matches before. Obviously, we had the rematch between Sourei and Mirai. We had Haruka Umasaki as well going against Saya Kamatani. So they aren't above throwing you, something different. Again, we don't know the fitness status of Starlight Kid. We don't know the fitness status of Hanan. We don't know if this was always the plan or whether they were going to go with Hanan or Starlight Kid and then had to pivot. We simply don't know. As you mentioned, Matt, this match is going to be great. Whoever it is, I think what's really important is whoever gets that opportunity, is going to grasp it with both hands. Now, the reason, again, I would love to see it be Iida, partly because I think that they'll both lose, but Iida, I think, will lose, and then it will bring out Hanan. But I also think that Iida, Amisori has had the opportunity at the white belt. I'm sure she will get plenty more. Iida has not yet challenged for a singles belt in Stardom. I think she deserves that. And, well, should I say the top 2 belts? Obviously, she's
All
won.
right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know you were going to bring up the high-speed belt. For the sake of this, I'm talking about those top 2 belts.
In the future, right? Because I think I read about that in your book.
We are not talking about anything aside from those 2. And I know you're plugging the book.
I'm just plugging that book, and I'm going to build towards the end when I'm going to plug at the end. It's really me and you are always usually on the same page. Obviously, we had O2 Line winning the tournament completely.
Obviously, yeah.
But at least we were in the same boat. So you think that Iida is going to win, and then Konami is going to retain, and that brings out Hanan, which would bring a good point because I think they're doing one of the big shows either in the Atsunamaya, the Light Cube. So maybe that's where Hanan then wins the Wonder Belt. Maybe that's the way they go. They would maybe rather have it end the show there, very much like Rena and Starlight Kid. That venue was sold out, even though Rena ate the L. So maybe if the plan was or is to put the Wonder Belt on Hanan, and maybe they wanted to do it against Starlight Kid. Maybe the idea was going at the end of the summer, we're going to do Hanan and Starlight Kid for the Wonder Belt at Ryogoku. And maybe it was Hanan got injured, Starlight Kid got injured. No problem. Let's pivot. Konami's having a great year. Let's go there. But I think Ami Sourei is going to come out of this on Monday as champion. And I think that Ami Sourei, because it seems like they have a lot of stock in here, I think my quick prediction is Ami Sourei is going to walk out of Sumo Hall as the Wonder of Stardom champion.
Wow. You think they are going to go Konami v Naught?
I think so. I think so because it really just seemed like, and I think I said it when we did our review of the great playoff show back at the Korakuen Hall back in the summer for the 5-star Grand Prix, where I said Ami Sourei is one little thing away, one little storyline away of becoming a big main eventer here in Stardom, and maybe that's what this is. And she's going up against the heel. Everybody's going to boo Konami, but in a good way. Everybody's going to cheer for Ami Sourei. So you're going to have 99% of the crowd on Ami Sourei's side and probably about 1% on Konami's side because they're the heels. Ami's the babyface, very much like BMI 2000 versus Aya and Sayaka Kurora. Everybody's going to enjoy that match because we're going to know who to boo and know who to cheer. In the main event, it's probably going to be 50-50 because everybody loves Saya Kamatani. But you get my point here. Maybe that's the way they're going. Or again, partner, I believe they are tagged to do a big show in the Light Cube in Hanan's hometown. And that would be even a more massive pop. Having like 1,000 people watching Hanan being crowned as the Wonder of Stardom champion. Regardless, I think both scenarios work. I think a Konami retain works. I think even a Iida. I love Iida. I would love to see Iida get the Wonder of Stardom championship. The good thing with Stardom right now is whether it's Konami, Iida, or Ami Sourei, they're all kind of the right answer because they're all really great wrestlers and they're going to propel themselves into a bigger spotlight. So regardless, any which way it shakes out, I'm really excited for it. Again, my first knee-jerk reaction was just like, really, all these big stars that they have, and this is kind of our wonder match. And then you take a step back. They've been doing nothing but elevating talent throughout the last year and a half. Even Azumi and Starlight Kid that were already there, they're on another level. Even Momo Watanabe, who's flirted with that scene, she's on another level, and we're going to see what happens with her when she comes back. But look at Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora. They've been kind of pushing them a little. Now they're in a big championship match coming off the Goddess tournament. So again, Stardom, the new brats at Stardom, since they took over about 2 years ago, they have no problem with throwing something at a wall to see if it sticks, and they hit more home runs than they did strikeouts. So again, no matter which way they shake this, all three of these women are going to go into 2026 a much bigger star than they went into 2025. That's for sure.
You've also got that big Supreme show in Osaka in February as well. So you do need to set something up for that show. It's not just necessarily about this big show. Obviously, you've then got the Eddie and Arena show for Supreme Fight. You've then got, on top of that, you've then got All-Star Grand Queendom again in April. It soon comes round. So you have got two big defenses of the white belt, you would say, on those two shows. And that's without factoring in any B-level pay-per-views or, any the award show that comes up or that big show in Hanan's hometown, for example, in Utsunomiya, or indeed just Korakuen Hall in general. So there are lots of different opportunities. I think it's good that Stardom are elevating talent. It's something that I've said for a long time. They need to start doing. They really need to start giving these wrestlers a chance to run. And I think Sairida, for me, is the one to do that. Again, I know that there is a lot of stock being held now, Missouri, and I can see that. I think she had a great 5-star Grand Prix. I don't think it's quite her time. Whereas I could see it being Sairida time, even though I think Konami will retain. I just think it would be nice for Sairida to get that opportunity. My only real surprise is that obviously we don't know who it's going to be until the 8th. There's not a lot of time to build a lot of heat for these two. Again, we know that Stardom don't necessarily worry too much about that. Again, the Saya Kamatani and Haruka Umasaki match, for example, had very little, if any, preview matches. I can't actually remember. I think they might have
They
done one in Korakuen.
They did like at a random house show where like all the members of Oedo Tai jumped Saya Kamatani, and then I think it was either Momo or Tora was like, "Oh, by the way, at Dream Queendom, you're wrestling Haruka Yamasaki." I was like, "She's not even with the company."
Yeah, it
That
was a
was really
weird one,
weird.
that was.
But I mean, I guess the only thing they did is they did take advantage of the Goddess tournament because Iida and Ami Sourei did pin Kunami
Yeah.
in the tournament. So there's little bit of a build up there, and then they pretty much have the rest of this month to build towards Kunami versus whoever, very much like they're doing with Soriano and Saya Kamatani, because I know they're on opposite teams again coming up here in Corkin Hall with Maika on the other side as well. So very interesting to see, because it really seems like they're setting up a lot there as far as the red belt match goes. But again, the white belt match, again, knee-jerk reaction. These are a lot of major stars that are already established. But take a step back. Again, this is a great opportunity to establish wrestlers we've seen flirt with the main event scene the last few years to be a constant main eventer. So, and I'm all for that. I mean, who knows? This may lead to a Iida versus Saya Kamatani World of Stardom Championship match, maybe somewhere in Corkin Hall, because you're giving Iida that opportunity. Who wouldn't want to see that, my friend? There's two Sayas doing battle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We move on then, and Matt, you did mention it, but we finally have the return of Maika. She made her appearance at the Goddess of Stardom Tag League Finals, chastising the EXV members for basically trying hard but not getting the results, which I think is quite harsh on Hanako, considering Hanako's just won the Future Belt. But again, prove that it's not all about hard work. It's about getting results as well. We know that EXV are going to be challenging for the artist belts, which I think is a great shout. It's going to be the semi-main on the upcoming Korakuen Hall show on the 8th, which on the 8th, which I'll go through in a second. But obviously, Maika coming back after her last match, I believe, was in May of 2025. So it's been a long, long layoff. She did a really in-depth interview with Tokyo Sports about the effect that this long time on the sidelines has had on her mental health, which obviously, you can see, like, if you are stopped from doing the thing that you love, it's going to weigh heavily on you. And obviously, Maika spoke in detail about that. If you haven't already, definitely go and check out that interview. So to see her here is great. She will be making her her next appearance. She'll be recovering from injury and coming back on the 8th of December at the Stardom Night show in Korakuen Hall. She'll be a part of an 8-woman tag match that will also feature a mystery opponent. I'll go through that in a second. Obviously, we couldn't have Maika come back without an appearance from Saya Kamatani. So just leaving that in there, Matt Turner, just making sure we remember that Maika and Saya Kamatani are a thing. So yeah, that's something that's very exciting. And don't be surprised if Maika is the one that challenges Saya after Soriano.
Yeah, because remember it was Supreme Fight 2023 that
It
Saya and
was.
Maika did have a back when Saya Kamatani was the Golden Phoenix. So I mean, you could build it up. It was 3 years ago that they had the match for the World of Stardom Championship, and I think if you put Maika and Saya Kamatani in the main event of that show in Osaka, that's going to be an instant sellout. From what I understand, the pre-sale tickets, they sold every single pre-sale ticket that they possibly can with just a poster. So you throw Maika versus Saya there, yeah, that's going to be a sellout. Now, Rob, I have not seen anything on social media All of our listeners that I talked to, nobody has brought this up to me. So I'm going to bring this up to you now, live on air.
Interesting.
Maybe it's just the way that Stardom has been doing this. So Maika comes in. She's wearing all black. She's got a zip-up jacket with a black shirt underneath it. Did anybody
No.
else think that she was joining hate? I'm like, it wouldn't make any sense, but I'm like, why is she wearing a zip-up jacket and the shirt underneath it is clearly black? And then she starts yelling at all the members of EXP. I was like, for a good 30 seconds, I was like, oh my God, Maika's returned and they're gonna put her with hate. It makes no sense because they already have Kamatani and you know they're doing great things with Rina and Tora. I was like, oh my God, like for 30 seconds, I was like, no. Like, no, I can't believe they're gonna do this. I can't believe they're gonna do this. And then find out the reason why she was yelling at EXV was basically like, hey, you guys are doing well, but you need to do better. A little pep talk. Literally to the point when I've been saying this for months that Waka, Rion, and Hanako, they need a challenge for the artist belt because they're great. I didn't think that they would win it, but now you're throwing this Maika like rah-rah speech. I'm 55% sure that EXV is taking the artist belt this Monday because
Yeah,
of the
I
Maika
must
speech.
admit, I am sort of with you on that. I must admit.
And so, like, if Micah just came in, was just like, "Hey, I'm back," blah blah blah, blah, like, "You great job, ladies," and they're gonna have the artist belts. I'm like, they're not gonna win. But what Micah doing the rah rah speech, I was like, "Oh damn!" Like she's like Mickey, and they're three Rockies. Like that's like really great stuff. But again, they accomplished a lot because they literally accomplished three things with Micah's promo. One, we know we're getting a Sai Kamatani versus Micah World of Stardom Championship match somewhere in 2026, and we've been waiting for that for a while. Two is the fact that Maika is coming back. We're like, maybe she'll be back for Ryogoku. No, she's going to be back 3 weeks earlier. So, like, all right. And setting up a future Artists of Stardom Championship match again this Monday in Korakuen Hall, which Korakuen Hall looks like it's going to sell out again because I think there's only like 3 sections left and only have a few tickets. So, Maika's promo, and it got everybody excited. So, Maika's promo set up a lot of really great things. It just goes to show you how much she is missed. And we were so glad that she's back. So I'm super excited for the show this Monday, my friend. And again, really great pep talk that she gave to all the other members of EXV.
Yeah, it's heated up the faction immediately. Obviously, the return of Maika was always going to do that, but the way that she returned, I think, has heated them up significantly ahead of this title challenge. Because again, had this just been a straight EXV challenge without Maika, I think it was going to be a fairly rudimentary defense for hate. I think with this now, with this renewed vigor, with this push from Maika, I think it's going to be inspiring to see her return as well. I do see EXV taking the belts off hate. In terms of the Korakuen Hall card, Maika is not the only return. We finally get the return of Motoi Hamabe and Ann Kanai, the rookies. Ann Kanai has been out since, I believe, April, and Motoi's been out since January.
Wow.
I think Motoi was a knee injury and Ann Kanai was a wrist injury, I believe. It was either a hand or a wrist injury. Both are scheduled to be taking on each other, actually, on the Korakuen Hall show, which is great because, again, both of these two rookies are incredibly exciting. So, and actually, if you remember, we said, "Oh, can't wait for Motoi to come back," because Ann Kanai might be better in ring. I'd love to see the comparison. And then, of course, we never got that. And then, of course, Ann Kanai has been out since April. So again, it's going to be great to see them back in the ring. And we talked about Maika obviously being out since May and the effect that had on her mental health. Motoi had just debuted and then has been out since January. Like that is the entirety of this year, give or take a handful of matches, has been wiped out by this knee injury. So it's great to see them both back on this card. And obviously their return is slightly more understated than Maika's, no less important to the balance of this roster. The Naito show in full then is as follows. We have got Emma Maishima taking on Yuki Mashiro in a singles match, which is going to be great. Motoi Hamabe taking on Ann Kanai. Again, great to see those two back. 6-woman tag, Neo Genesis, Azumi, Mei Seira, and Miyu Amasaki are going to be taking on Lady C, Tomoka Inaba, and Kikyo Furusawa. Tag team match, FWC versus Peach Lily. Now that is
Hell
going to
yeah.
be very, very good. The two tag teams we should have got in the tag league. We've got a 6-woman tag, which I imagine is going to be setting us up another singles match at Dream Queendom. Natsupoi, Yuna Mizumori, and Aya Sakura against Sourei, Chi-Chi, and Miku Kanai. Obviously, a confrontation between Poi and Sourei at the finals of the tag league, which we'll talk about later, has led to this match, a chance for Natsupoi to prove herself, and I imagine a lead into a singles match between her and Sourei at Dream Queendom. We've then got a 10-woman tag match as God's Eye take on Mivida Loca, the team of Shiori Saki Kashima, who is back from that injury, which is great. Thankfully, it wasn't a severe injury. Hina, Ron Yagami, and Kyoko Katatsu, they will be taking on Suzu Suzuki, Rina Yamashita, Itsuki Aoki, who I feel like we haven't seen in ages, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragane, the new best friends. 8-woman tag will see the return of Maika. She will be teaming with Shiori Ano and Sayaka Kurora and a mystery partner. It's X. Is this one going to be Xena?
Megan Bain or Mina Shirakawa, the other the other former EXP member from AEW.
Who knows? Julia, who knows? It's absolutely not going to be Julia. Versus the hate team of Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. Semi-main event is that Artist of Stardom Championship match. Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death defending the belts against the EXV team of Hanako, Wakasukiyama, and Rian. And then at the top of the card, that aforementioned Wonder of Stardom Championship #1 contendership match, Saya Iida versus Ami Sourei. Matt, thoughts on this card overall? And what are your thoughts in terms of the mystery partner and those 2 title matches? Well, that 1 title match and the #1 contendership match.
Again, a really solid card. I mean, great to see Maika back. You know, you mentioned Matoy and Kanai returning on the same card and in the same match, you know, wrestling each other. Just kind of really quick, buddy, just putting my wrestling brain together. These two were probably training in the dojo together, you know, feeling out their injuries, making sure they get their timing back. So my guess is they probably had a lot of practice rounds against each other. So don't be shocked if that one kind of steals the undercard. Speaking of stealing the undercard, Peach Lily versus FWC. That was the match when the card was fully announced earlier today. That was the underneath card, that a match that really, really popped me. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with Maika and Soriano because they're on the same team. Obviously, they're both gunning for the same prize. Soriano gets the first crack, and Maika, not only does she want to win back the red belt, but she wants to beat Saya Kamatani. And I think we can kind of do something with Maika and Soriano, maybe bleeding into next year, where it's just like, no. If you want to win that red belt, like Soriano's, the whole gimmick would be Soriano, like, you want to win the red belt, that's fine. But you're going to have to beat me for it because I'm beating Kamatani at the end of the year. I think that's a way they can play into it. Remember, Maika and Soriano had a great match in the 5-star Grand Prix 2 years ago. That was the match that they had to throw water on each other because the air conditioning broke.
I remember, yeah. I remember.
So I would love to see, and I don't think Kamatani's dropping the belt to Soriano or Maika, but if she does, both those wrestlers are great, and I won't say no. But I would love to see maybe the two of them having a little bit of a feud in the spring of next year, because who wouldn't want to see Maika and Soriano going at it? But regardless, you know, a lot of great tag matches there, and then you get that 1-2 punch at the end, what's great is you don't know how it's going to go. Again, I think EXV is going to win the artist belts. Could I be wrong? Sure. And I don't know how that main event's going to go. I'm putting my chips in. By chips, I mean very little on the Ami Sourei getting the win over Iida. But the Iida fan base on social media, they are very passionate and they are very proud of their gorilla. So I know a lot of people will be pulling for Iida. I think Ami Sourei gets the win, but I wouldn't be shocked, nor I would be upset if Iida does walk out of Korakuen Hall as the new #1 contender for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. And I really think that this is going to be the show that we do have the official challenge of Sourei versus Natsupoi, because I know next Wednesday, 2 days after Korakuen show, that is the Dream Queendom press conference. So I'm just letting you know right now, when you see that there's a press conference on Wednesday, they're already selling tickets for it. You don't need to be like, hey, we're canceling the show. Yes, if you were coming over from a different country, you're not allowed to fly in. You're good, buddy. You're okay.
We're all good. Okay, good.
I'm just letting you know. So I think next Wednesday you're going to see most of the card taking shape, and I have a feeling that Wednesday morning when I wake up, we will have an official match graphic for Sourei versus Natsupoi. Also, really excited to see Miku Kanai, because Miku Kanai, I mean, we'll talk about her on these last string of shows. Boy, how do you want to talk about a breakout wrestler in Stardom? And Chi-Chi as well. I like this like team Sourei of Chi-Chi, Miku,
Yeah.
and Miku Kanai. I'm a big fan of kind of the no-name faction that it is. I think we'll call them like Soreism or something like that, or the
Yeah,
Barbie,
makes sense.
or the Barbie girls. I don't know, the violent Barbie girls. I don't
I
know.
can't imagine for a moment that Sourei would want that to be their name.
What if Sourei then? Because now she has the new silver and red. What if she
Mhm.
had like pink and red?
Neon pink.
Oh, you see, you just took it one step further. I love it. And she's like a
I've
light up
seen the
jacket.
vision.
She has a light up jacket like Jericho used to
Yes,
have. Yes. She's a Barbie
absolutely.
girl living in the Barbie world.
Tremendous. Let's just quickly talk about the Tokyo Comic Con coming up then. Stardom have announced 2 matches that will be taking place on the 5th of December as a part of the Tokyo Comic Con. We've got Neo Genesis, the trio of Meisera, Azumi, and Miyu Amasaki, taking on Lady C, Amisori, and Rana Yagami. We've also got a tag team match. Kikyo Furusawa and Rian will be taking on Yuri Ahime and Emma Maishima, Matt.
Yeah, 2 of my favorite things in the world, pro wrestling and Comic Cons. So really
Absolutely.
great stuff. For you YouTube viewers, it just me, Rob? Does it look like May Sarah's waving and Lady C's kind of waving back? Like I'm looking at May Sarah, then I look at Lady C. So what's really cool, because I can say that myself and Andy Header, we both wrestled on comic book conventions the same year as Azumi and May Sarah. So there we go. That's the dream match everybody wants to see: Team Blue and Gold versus the High Speed Sisters. But we have seen this over the past few years at the Tokyo Comic Con, that Stardom has had a few matches on there, which is really, really cool, because you can cross over the comic book community with the pro wrestling community and vice versa. And they kind of go hand in hand. Like Sting always said, like, Sting said he first got into wrestling because he loved comic books, because it's, Peter Parker's Peter Parker, but then he puts the mask on and then he's Spider-Man. Like Sting is Steve Borden, and then he puts the mask on and then he becomes Sting. So comic books and pro wrestling really do go hand in hand. The fact that they're doing it at Tokyo Comic Con again for, I think, the 3rd year in a row, which is just really, really cool. It's a really cool crossover between 2 really great things in pop culture.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, obviously, we haven't podcasted together for a while when it comes to the Stardom Cast. I just wanted to go through a couple of results of Stardom wrestlers out and about before we get into the tag league. First of all, Rani Yagami unfortunately came out on the losing side of a match with Yuki Mashiro at Gokiken Pro Wrestling, which is the brand new promotion of Kaori Oniyama. So there you go. It was the second match on the card from Twin Mess in Shizuoka, 7 minutes and 33. That match went. We obviously as well had the Sendai Girls World Tag Team Championships up for grabs in Fukuoka on the 22nd. Team 200 kg, unfortunately, because we are such big FWC fans, not because we dislike Team 200 kg, coming out on top. Matt Turner, did you get a chance to watch this?
I did. The review's already up on Talk Joshi. The last 2 Sendai Girl shows, they're on Talk Joshi. And then this week we're going to have a Tokyo Joshi Pro show, a Sendai Girl show as well. So yes, I watched it, reviewed it. It is in your feed for Talk Joshi, and was actually my favorite for my favorite top 5 favorite matches of the week. This was number 1, buddy. This was numero uno.
There you go. And finally, obviously, the return of Jungle Kiona. She had her last exhibition match against Saya Iida on the 22nd of November in the Sportiva Arena in her native Nagoya. Saya Iida getting the win in 13 minutes and 54 seconds. But of course, Jungle Kiona, her last exhibition match, she should be making a full return to wrestling. I am hoping beyond hope, Matt, that we get an announcement of where Jungle will come up next.
My guess, buddy, because there obviously is a slew of shows coming up at the end of the year, because it is Dream Queendom / Wrestle Kingdom weekend or a week, and there's so many shows going on, in the Tokyo area. I wouldn't be shocked if Jungle Kiona pops up on a few of those shows, because it'd be great for her and great for the companies as well, because a lot of wrestling fans want to see Jungle Kiona again. So it'd be a win-win for everybody, the fans, the company, and Jungle Kiona. So don't be shocked if in a few days we get some announcements that she's going to be on some of these shows coming up for Wrestle Kingdom week, buddy.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League then. The last three shows we will be talking about here, and we're going to start with the last night of block action, night 11 from the 28th of November in the beautiful KBS Hall in Kyoto. I'm not going to go through all of the possible permutations and scenarios for each of the competitors. I did that on the last episode, and goodness gracious me, it took me some working out. But we got there in the end, and it was only after I'd done all this working out that Anacon then pulled out of the actual tournament anyway due to an injury to Saki Kashima, making most of my working out moot anyway. So there we are. I won't be going through that again, simply to save both my sanity and indeed yours as a listener. In terms of the reported attendance, then 518 people there. It's a 30.56% decrease from the company's previous house in the venue. If you remember, Matt, that was that fantastic 746 they pulled in for the 5-star Grand Prix earlier this year. It's only the 7th time, though, that they've passed the 500 mark in the 16 times they've run there. It's the joint third highest attendance the company have achieved at KBS Hall, well above the 437 average the company currently has at the venue. So in terms of the results then, we open with a singles match, Saya Kamatani defeating Emma Maishima with a Boston Crab in 7 minutes and 19 seconds. Three-way match, Mei Seira defeated Yuna Mizumori and Momo Kogo in 5 minutes and 44 seconds. Mei Seira pinning Yuna with the shooting star. All of the rest are block matches from the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. Red Goddess action, BMI 2000. Tora and Ruaka moved to 12 points, defeating Dos Locas to Mexico. Osita and Tio Teleco. Natsuko Tora pinning Tio Teleco with the Death Valley Bomb in 10 minutes and 10 seconds. Blue Goddess action, Osu Chimadoro Onajuku, which is Suzu Suzuki, and Rina Yamashita getting their second win of the tournament, defeating Konami and Rina, eliminating them from proceedings, with Suzu Suzuki pinning Rina with the tequila shot in 11 minutes and 44 seconds. More Red Goddess action. Akira Kurigane and Bozilla defeated Reckless, Fantasy, Waka Tsukiyama, and Rian. Akira submitting Rian with the crossface in 8 minutes and 53 seconds. That victory eliminated both Aquastella and Dos Locas de Mexico as well. The next match was Blue Goddess action. The Mega Skyscrapers, Hanako and Megan Bain, and Anacon, Saki Kashima, and Sourei, although it was basically just Sourei towards the end of the match, if we're being honest. They went to a 15-minute time limit draw. Incredible restraint from Stardom, Matt. Only 2 time limit draws in this tag league, which I think is quite impressive. Then we had the other Blue Goddess match, the final Blue Goddess match. Saya Kurora, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora, they moved to 8 points, defeating O2 line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, because of course everyone else did, so why not? Aya Sakura pinning Azumi with a pinfall reversal in 10 minutes and 26 seconds. That victory eliminated the phenomenally named Gorilla Trigger, which was Saya Iida and B. Priestley. Incredible name. And that led to Mega Skyscrapers, Anacon, and Saya Kurora being the 3 teams through from Blue Goddess block. Red Goddess saw Sourei and Miku Kanai defeat Saori Ano, and Natsupoi, with Miku Kanai pinning Saori Ano with a jackknife pin in 12 minutes and 7 seconds. And that victory meant that it would be the BMI 2000 team of Tora and Ruaka at the top, which we knew they would be. Sourei and Miku Kanai and Bozilla and Akira Kurigane as your top 3 teams. Now, again, it is worth noting, and I know that everyone who listened to the last episode and indeed has been following the tag league will know this. Anacon had to pull out of the tournament after qualifying due to an injury to Saki Kashima, which meant that they would drop out, and Gorilla Trigger, Saya Iida, and B. Priestley would go through in 3rd place, meaning that they would have a playoff with Saya Kurora the next night on the 29th in the Edion Arena, Osaka, number 2. Matt, let's go straight into the first match of the show then. And that, of course, was Saya Kamatani and Emma Maishima in singles action, just for the sake of speed, ladies and gentlemen, because again, we've got 3 shows to get through. Non-tag league action, we are just going to whiz through. Okay, we're going to focus mainly on the actual tag league action. Matt.
Yeah, again, I'm just really, really good. Saya Kamatani made her look really good. Kamatani gave her like 50% of this match. Like, I was really impressed with it. Again, it just goes to show you how great Kamatani is. But obviously, Saya getting the win. Great way to start off your show with your world champion. 3.5 stars for me, good sir.
Moving on then, this 3-way match, which I know that you were a huge fan of, less than 6 minutes, these 3 women managed to put on a hell of a show in that time.
This was great. I gave it 4 stars. This is one of my favorite matches of the show, considering it's all about the tag league, and this was probably my favorite night of the tag league from start to finish. This is a match that really like snuck it in there. These ladies took advantage of every second they had in the ring. Obviously, we know we're getting a big Yuna versus May Sarah match somewhere down the pike. Momo Kogo made her intentions felt as well. She was looking at that belt like, I want to crack at it too. If Yuna does win the belt, which we think that's the way they're going to go, maybe Momo Kogo is the V1 or V2, or maybe she's next in line to wear that belt. Obviously, we love Momo Kogo. She was great here. Obviously, the chemistry between Mace and Yuna Mizumori is fantastic. 4 stars for me, my friend. This one completely blew me away. I thought this was terrific.
We then move on to the first of our Goddess of Stardom Tag League matches. BMI 2000 defeating Dos Locas de Mexico, securing that top spot and a bye into the semifinals, which we found out were actually due to take place on the 30th alongside the final. Stardom did issue basically an apology saying that the bracket had been published wrong. But there we are. I think this was, unfortunately, I was under the impression that DLM were going to win. Obviously, that's not the way we went. And we ended up with 3 very interesting qualifiers from this block. And we'll talk about that in a moment. What did you think about the match itself, though, Matt?
I like how it started. BMI 2000, they get the jump. We get a little bit of a heat on Hazuki. Kagamoshi comes in with the Bear 619, or maybe we'll dub that the Tequila 619, Rob. Maybe when they're under the geist of these luchadors. And then we do see the double paradise lock on the tag champs, which got a really great reaction from the crowd here in KBS Hall. Really great back and forth double teamwork between the 2 teams. Eventually, FWC, they get the advantage, but it's going to happen, Rob. That damn hate crate that comes into play, and that pretty much spells doom for FWC. We get the mist, and then we do get the DVD. I'm sorry, no mist. We get the hate crate and the DVD, putting away Hazuki 3 3/4 stars.
Yeah, always beware the hate crate. Osu, Chimadira, Onajuku were already eliminated from proceedings, but they then eliminated Konami and Rina. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of Suzu and Rina because of Suzu's illness. However, it was good to see them together here, Matt.
Yeah, and you as soon as the match begins, you forgot that like this Rina versus Rina kind of underlining feud, like when Rina Yamashita first came into Stardom as part of La Vida Loca. It's like, no, I'm Rina. No, you're Rina. That's how they start. They try to bully each other. Like Rina Yamashita is like, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm a deathmatch wrestler. And Rina's like, I don't care, I'm a brat, and I fear nobody. I fear nobody. Ask the Violence Queen how much I didn't care during All-Star Grand Queendom. And then Yumiki Hata absolutely beat the crap out of Rina. Regardless, I love the little dynamic between Rina and Rina. It's almost like hate Rina. It's like, how dare you? How dare there be another Rina in Stardom? Like, she's almost like appalled by it. Regardless, there's great stuff there. Fantastic stuff with Konami and Suzu Suzuki. And I've been saying this on the Stardom cast and even on Talk Joshi, but all these fantastic wrestlers that we're having in Stardom this year, Sai Kamatani, Azumi, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, that 2 wrestlers that really fly under the radar as far as having great years in professional wrestling is Konami and Suzu Suzuki. They're doing great stuff. And again, we talked about what a great year Konami is having and the fact that she's going to be the semi-main event of Sumo Hall coming up at the end of the month. But the Suzu and Konami stuff was great. It was violent. It was right up my alley. And then you got a little mix here with Rina Yamashita and Konami. That was great. And Rina and Suzu Suzuki. So all the pairings worked. The tag team stuff worked. This was great. I wish it went a little bit longer. I know we had a 15-minute time limit. This went right around 12 minutes. I wish it went that 13, 14 minutes because this just worked on all sorts of storytelling. Everything really worked because Hate isn't going to out cheat and out bully Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita because they're like deathmatch wrestlers. This was all sorts of terrific. Thoroughly enjoyed it. 4 stars for me. And it was, you're absolutely right, buddy. I would love to see Suzu and Rina Yamashita tag up more often because they're just a chemistry that really, really works.
And let's not gloss over the fact that Suzu and Konami really do have great chemistry. So potential white belt permutations, especially if Konami does hold this belt for a long time, I think her and Suzu Suzuki is a great defense down the line. We then move on to Akira Korakuen and Bozilla, the friendship story of the tournament, one of the best stories of the tournament, without a shadow of a doubt, going over Reckless Fantasy ending this tournament 0-7, the only team to do that, although at one point I did think they were going to try and make O2 Line do that just to spite us. But Matt, again, that relationship between Bozilla and Akira Korakuen, that development of the relationship between the two, that growing respect that started so begrudgingly for Bozilla with Akira, and Akira having to prove herself, I think has made their matches so much more compelling and so much more endearing.
One of my favorite spots or segments of the year happened in this match where Waka's like, I'm going to start. And I want you, Bozilla. And Waka starts throwing these drop kicks, and Bozilla's just laughing at her. Then after the third one, after Waka hits the mat from the drop kick, Bozilla picks her up and hits a Falcon Arrow. Like, that's a big move. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Have that.
Like, we've seen this happen with Bozilla before. Really, any like bigger, stronger wrestler in wrestling where it's like they kind of shake off the offense and they'll hit like a tackle or a slam or something. No, I'm just going to hit Waka. And it's because it's Waka. Poor Waka. She hits her with this crazy Falcon Arrow like 30 seconds in. I love it how Waka and Rion, they got to use a lot of teamwork to break down Bozilla. And it works to a certain degree, which I thoroughly like that, to the point where Akira has to come in and almost make the save for Bozilla. So it really puts over the team that is Waka and Rion, and it really puts over Akira. Obviously, Bozilla is in a completely different light because she's Bozilla and she's fantastic. But I like how in this match they did a great job getting over the teamwork that is Waka and Rion. And then we do have Akira coming in again, almost kind of not for the save, but kind of for the save. Eventually, though, she puts away Stone Cold Rion with the crowd space. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend. This was really, really good. It was a good match, but it's all about that story that they were telling with Bozilla not wanting to team with Akira. And then halfway through the tag league, does not want anything to do with Akira whatsoever. Literally, the point that she uses words in the middle of a match that I can't say on this podcast. And then at the end, they become best friends. Because obviously we'll get into the whole mist thing that put out Bozilla in the playoff of the tag league. But again, really great stuff. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Maybe that's what we'll see. Maybe they will just incorporate the whole best friends hug thing and the camera zooming in. Maybe that's the next gimmick for the Mavida Loca team.
Walker Stewart could say, you got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely. It works, bro. It works. Moving on then, Anacon versus the Mega Skyscrapers, Matt. And obviously, towards the end, Saki Kashima had enough of this. And I'll be perfectly honest, if I had spent the entirety of 15 minutes being bullied by Hanako and being bullied by Megan Bayne, I think I would also peace out of the ring.
Again, very much like the last match. I like how it starts. Saki goes for a quick roll up and she gets it on Megan Bayne and scores a 0. Not a 1, not a 2, a 0. Then Megan Bayne looks at Saki Cash.
The look on her face, though.
And then Megan Bayne looks at Saki Kashima like, how dare you try to beat me? I'm like, that's the name of the game, and chases Saki Kashima around. Look, her stuff was great. Her stuff with Sherry in this tournament was great. Hanako's great. Rob, let's just talk about it. Sherry, Megan Bayne. There are so many matches. There are so many Megan Bayne matches that we want to see coming out of this Goddess tournament. And again, we don't know if she's coming back at the end of the year for Dream Queendom. I know World's End is on the 27th. But again, we've seen it before where she would land and then 4 hours later.
We know that she is not averse to that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, geez.
That's a great layover for Megan, that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to some of them, that's great. A day's rest, hell yeah.
4 hours, no problem. I guess I'll sleep on the plane. Again, man, and if we want to stack this Dream Queendom card, give us, special singles match. Give us Sherry versus Megan Bain. I mean, that's a match. Whether or they're going to do Bozilla versus Megan Bain. I mean, there's a lot there. There is a lot. I mean, Megan Bain and Stardom did a great job. First of all, getting her in this tournament, like that was when we thought like who's X going to be. We had 4 or 5 people we thought it was going to be. I'm like, wow, Megan Bain with that schedule that she has with AEW. So the fact that's like anytime they want to pull the trigger, as long as obviously the brass at AEW and Stardom can make it work, there is a lot for Megan Bain to come back to. Obviously, Bozilla and obviously Shuri here. I mean, that closing 4 or 5 minutes between the two, absolutely next level. Just really, really great stuff. I thought overall this match was terrific. Hanako and Megan Bain work really great as a team. Shuri and Saki Kashima, again, we've seen them team up quite a bit over these last few years. They kind of have that kind of comedy buddy duo, but then when it comes time for Shuri to be an absolute ass kicker, she becomes an absolute ass kicker. 4 stars for me. Again, but I'm going to say it again. Shuri versus Megan Bain somewhere in the future. Cut aside.
Now, I don't know if the injury for Saki took place in this match. It must have done. It must have done for them to announce it so soon afterwards. She looked fine during the match. I don't know if her piecing out and saying, yeah, I've had enough, see you later. I assume that's part of the match. It fit with the storyline of what's been going on with Anacon. Did you highlight a certain part of this match where you could see her get injured? Was it just a random sort of, well, like we saw with Tora, where she jumped off the apron and ended up destroying her knee? Was it something completely innocuous? I can't recall seeing a spot where I was like, that's where Saki got injured.
You know what, Rob? I mean, obviously, it wasn't anything major because she's back on Monday,
Yeah, that's
right?
true. That's true.
So she's only out 7, 8 days. And maybe it was because you're going into a playoff and you need an absolute great match. And like Saki's like, I can't deliver that great match, even though Shuri's my tag partner and Shuri could have a great match with anybody. And maybe they wanted to err on the side of caution. Like, let's just give her a few days rest. We'll put B and Saya in there because we know that they're going to be terrific. Yeah, there wasn't really anything that happened. I don't know if they disclosed what it was.
So,
Maybe she got her bell rung and concussion protocol. I
that's
mean,
what I thought initially. I thought that was probably most likely.
that could, I mean, obviously Saki, unfortunately, she's been having a wrath of injuries over the last
Oh my
year
God,
and
hasn't she
change.
just?
Usually her knee and her foot. But again, if she's only out 8, 9 days, I know in college football and in the NFL that if you get your bell rung, concussion protocol, if you pass it, you're only out like 6 to 7 days. So usually like 1 week, like usually one game. Maybe that's what it was with Saki. Maybe it's just like she got her bell rung. Let's not put her back there. Maybe she passed the doctor's concussion protocol.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, now you're good to go. You can be in the court and show up. That would be my only guess. I mean, you're wrestling Hanako and Megan Bain. They're 2 of the bigger wrestlers here. So you're getting a lot of those big suplex bumps, a lot of those big throws. And maybe something just happened. Maybe something didn't happen. She didn't tuck her head in time for the bump. That happens. I can't even tell you how many times I've had my bell rung before. But again, I'm glad that she's okay. I'm glad it wasn't anything major. I'm sure that her match on Monday is going to be an absolute hoot because she's a hoot. But again, we're just glad that she's okay.
Moving on, we obviously had Saya Kurora, Ryan Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora going over Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, which of course confirmed their place in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see what Azumi and Miyu Amasaki are going to be doing at Dream Queendom, because aside from potentially going for the artist belts, there's not a lot they can be doing short of potentially being a part of this Fuwa-chan match, which is the only thing I can really think that they're doing, because again, Azumi had a really hot summer. She got through to the final of the 5-star Grand Prix, had that great match with Saya Kamatani, but has really cooled down heading into Dream Queendom territory. And obviously, I know, again, that old adage, you can't push everyone. Don't know who Miyu Amasaki has annoyed backstage. But yeah, very, very strange booking of O2 Line, because again, as one of your established teams in the tag division, I don't mind them not going through. I quite like the fact that Saya Kurora have gone through. I love the fact that Bozilla and Akira Gorgani went through, because that was a whole storyline. I don't think Sourei and Miku Kanai needed to go through. I do think beating Saori Poi made sense. Don't think they needed to go through, but that's a conversation for a little bit later on. Yeah, you could have had Azumi and Miyu Amasaki go to 6 points or something like that. Give them a little bit more than being one of the first teams eliminated outright from the tournament.
Rob, you're right. There's that old adage: you can't push everybody. But it's Azumi. Like, there's always that wrestler you're going to constantly be, making sure that she's in a prominent role because that wrestler's fantastic and they draw a lot of tickets and they get a lot of buzz and you get everything out of that person. And that is Azumi. Like, she's a promoter's dream. She can do it all: tag, singles, three-way, high speed, hard hitting. She can tag with Starlight Kid, Mei Sarah, Miyu Amasaki. Like, she is a promoter's dream. She is, and I've been watching wrestling for almost 40 years, folks. She's 101. She's a completely on a completely different level. Again, I'm starting to think that A and Azumi stands for AI. She is a special talent. My guess, Rob, for the year that she had, you mentioned she had a hot summer. She had a hot year. The artist belts, the white belt match she had with Starlight Kid, in my opinion, as far as wrestling quality goes, the greatest run in the 5-star Grand Prix history is what Azumi did this past year. Great match with Saya Kamatani. Her matches, obviously, here as part of O2 line, have been fantastic in the Goddess tournament. You need to give her something big in Sumo Hall. My guess is it's got to be something with Fuachan. If Starlight Kid is fit to go, I mean, because that match is going to have a lot of people watching it because Fuachan is a big star. If Starlight Kid's fit to go, I don't see why you don't do Starbomb and Miyu Amasaki versus Fuachan and FWC. What a great match that would be. I mean, because you're going to have a lot of eyes on that. You're allowed to bring a lot of new eyes, fresh eyes that don't watch Stardom or don't even watch wrestling. They're going to watch that for Fuachan, and people are going to be blown away by FWC, Azumi, Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, or whether it's Mesa or whatever. So I still think that's the way to go. I think Azumi's going to have a high-profile match on Dream Queendom because she's Azumi, and she's absolutely earned that opportunity to have a big match on the second biggest show of the year. Regardless, Rob, let's talk about this match. This was great. You had baby faces versus baby faces, two of the most loved factions in all of Stardom. Cosmic Angels versus Neo Genesis. I like how it starts with Iida and Sayaka. They start with the quick double teams, and then you can just see Azumi's list like, oh, girls, you don't know anything about quick double teams. I've been doing quick double teams since you girls were in high school. And then all of a sudden you get the O2 line, boom, 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 boom. Really great stuff there. Then this is a great 50-50 match, like to the point you didn't know which way it was going to go. Some really good stuff there. And then as this match is breaking down, the striking exchanges with Aya Sakura and Azumi were really great. That's what really made me sit up in my chair a little bit more than usual. Really great stuff there. I like how they tease the forearms, they do the kicks, and then they hit a double high kick, and they tease a double knockout. See, you mentioned before we only had 2 time limit draws in this tournament. This was the only one where we got teased the double knockout to the point where, like, I think it was Daichi or Barb was just like, they were counting. The crowd was even, you could hear it kind of building up like, we're going to have a double count out, or double knockout here. It's the only time they did it in this tournament, and it meant something there. Really great stuff there. Azumi misses the double foot stomp onto Miyu onto Aya, and then Sayaka comes in with the spear. We saw that quite a bit where, like, a wrestler from the other team that Aya and Sayaka were wrestling would go for a big move. I would move out of the way, and literally a half a second later, they would turn around into the feed, and Sayaka would come in for the big spear. Very much like we see with Miyu Amasaki in these matches, whether it's Starlight Kid, Azumi, Mei Say, whenever they get in trouble, out of nowhere, here comes Miyu Amasaki with one of her 42 different variations of the DDTs. And I really like that because it gets her over, and it gets the move over. And we saw that a lot in this tournament, especially in the latter half, with Sayaka Kurora coming in and bailing out Aya Sakura with just one spear. That's all it needs. You don't need to be complicated and do 5,000 things, but it gets the spear over, and it gets the teamwork over that is Aya and Sayaka. Excellent stuff there. And then we get some great stuff back and forth with Aya Sakura and Azumi. Azumi looking like she's going to get the win, but Aya Sakura stacks the Azumi Shushi, baiting a big win and a big upset. 4.25 stars. I thought this match was all sorts of brilliant.
Obviously, having talked about O2 line and sort of the disappointment in the booking of O2 line during this tour, and for what it's worth, I absolutely think it will be a 6-woman with Azumi, Miyu, and potentially Starlight Kid, maybe returning to then take on Fuachan and FWC. I think that's the most likely.
We're in trouble because we both agree.
Absolutely. So that means that Fuachan will be taking on Maika in a singles match. She is going to be Megaton's mystery opponent at the first Dream show. No, but in all fairness, Saya Aurora have been a real bright light in this tournament. In, a couple of these shows, I don't mind saying, have been quite middling. There's not been a tremendous amount of must-see tag team action, especially when you compare it to prior years. I think Saya Aurora have been a very, very, very bright light in this tag league, and again, they proved it here. I think they were worthy winners of the tournament, and they are someone compared them. I think it actually might have been Aya in an interview, compared them to being the new Dream Shine. Because
She
obviously,
did. Yeah.
because again, you've got Sayaka Kurora, who is very much in that Tam mold. And you've got Aya Sakura, who, when she wrestles, she has got that Arisa Hoshiki sort of vibe. I'm not saying that they are ridiculously similar wrestlers or carbon copies or anything like that, but there is certainly a point to be made that they are, the heir apparents to Dreamshine, which I'm all for. I am all for.
That brings up one question for me, buddy. Are they going to come out with awesome zip-up jackets like Dreamshine had? Remember how awesome those
I do.
jackets were? Wowzers. Wow. Maybe we need to do a top 10 favorite piece of Stardom merchandise, because Stardom pumps out some really great merchandise. I know recency bias. Rob already has BMI 2000's tie-dye shirts as number one, an extra small. So onesies.
But yeah, again, I thought they've been tremendous all tournament, and again have been appointment viewing, similar to Akira Kuragane and Bozilla. Let's talk about this final match then. Obviously, I think once this went on as the main event, it became very, very clear that Sourei would not be making it through to the playoffs, because you are building to Sourei and Natsupoi. And I think the only real shock for me was that it was Soriano that took the pinfall to Miku Kanai. Considering she has got a red belt shot coming up, you would assume, especially as the whole storyline at the moment is Sourei refusing the challenge of Natsupoi because she hasn't proved herself. I feel like getting pinned by, no offense, Miku Kanai would have played into that storyline here. I was really surprised that they opted to have Soriano take the pin as opposed to Natsupoi. The storyline makes sense. Again, I will repeat, I don't think Sourei and Miku Kanai needed to go through to make that storyline, because again, this was the storyline, wasn't it? I know that they did beef up the rivalry between Bozilla and Sourei, and yes, please, if we can do that again. But I think you could have done. Other teams would have benefited more from going through, other than Sourei and Miku Kanai.
Partner, a lot to unpack what you just said. For one of the very few times in the 4 years we've been doing this podcast that I disagree. You said once this was the main event, you're like, Sourei not going through. As soon as they made their entrance, and I was like, they're going through. And then halfway through the match, I'm like, they're going to win the whole thing, and they're going to use the title shot on a show sometime next year, maybe on one of those 1-3 shows or a Korakuen coming up, because I was like, you're just going to, why not put the tag belts on them? Because they are so good. They're on a completely another level. And obviously we'll find out when we get to my top 5 favorite matches of this tournament. You made a lot of good points here. Like a lot of this was a play-in match, which we kind of figured a few weeks ago this was going to be, and they did a great job heating up Sourei versus Natsupoi. The person that got made the most here was Miku Kanai. Obviously, Natsupoi, she's a main eventer. Soriano is main eventing, is going to main event a big show at the end of the year. Her and Natsupoi, they sold out. It was Oda Ward, right? For their produce show. Was it Oda Ward? Like I always ask that. I keep forgetting. But Sourei is obviously a massive, massive star. And by the way, Sourei was announced for Tokyo Joshi Pro's Grand Princess show coming up in March with Yuka Sakazaki. So I was like, wow, Joshi's just absolutely crushing it, but it was Miku Kanai getting the win here. And I know there were a lot of Cosmic Angels fans and Soriano fans that were very upset that Soriano eats a pin 4 weeks before her biggest match of her career. I was like, guys, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. They're going to do a whole bunch of Soriano versus Sai Kamatani matches, tag matches leading up towards Dream Queendom. We're going to see Soriano getting a lot of big wins. So don't be shocked if you see Soriano pin Saya Kamatani once or even twice going into their match at Dream Queendom. She's going to be fine. But they made a big star, Miku Kanai, not in this match, but this whole entire tournament. And I obviously watch a lot of I watch all Miku Kunai's stuff in Stardom, obviously, but a lot of her stuff is in Sendai Girls as well, and the Surism shows, which again we cover on over at Talk Joshi. And I'm a massive fan of Miku Kunai. She might be the wrestler they may want to eye signing to like a full-time deal, very much like we saw they did with Suzuki and pretty much with the Inaba sisters they've done over the last year. Because I thought she was great. As far as this match goes, Rob, you talked about this. It was a really good Goddess tournament, but there really weren't some must see matches. This was must see.
Yeah.
This was phenomenal. The tag team work between these two teams. We've seen Sourei and Miku Kunai. They were good as a team the first few matches, but they adopted some more brutal tag team moves. We've seen them do like the wheelbarrow into the mule kick. We've seen them do that in all the matches, but these last few matches, they've done the double stomp. And I know it looks easy. It's really hard to get two people on those ropes and then to come off at the same time and then still be somewhat safe, landing 4 feet on your opponent that's 6 feet on a mat. Then after that, Miku Kunai does the top rope senton, and then Sourei does the double foot stomp. Really, really great tag work between Sourei and Miku Kunai. I was completely blown away how great these two are as a tag team, and I wouldn't be shocked or hurt if Sourei and Miku Kunai do win the Goddess belts coming up next year. But ultimately, we get this great back and forth with Sourei and Natsupoi. Again, we're just adding more fuel to the fire of their potential match. Again, my guess, and hopefully so, buddy, it is in Sumo Hall. And then it looks like we're getting this singles match with Miku Kunai and Soriano. Soriano almost puts Miku Kunai away a few times, but Sourei just keeps coming in at the last possible second to break up the pinfall. And then we see Sourei hit the Uranagi, and that opens the door for Miku Kunai to go corner to corner with that roll up. And I'm like, Natsupoi will come in and break up. And she didn't. Miku Kunai getting the win, probably the biggest win in her young career. I'll tell you right now, partner, it was my favorite match of this tournament. 4 3/4 stars. This was absolutely fantastic. And obviously, most meat of this match was Sourei and Natsupoi. The Soriano and Sourei stuff was great. But even that Miku Kunai and Soriano kind of mini match that they had towards the end, I was really blown away with. Again, Stardom has made a star in Miku Kunai in this tournament. Considering the fact that she's not signed to Stardom full time, really just goes to show you that they definitely have plans for Miku Kunai moving forward. And again, I really hope that they sign her to some sort of deal here in 2026.
Now, that does leave us with obviously our final block standings. BMI 2000 going through, Sourei and Miku Kunai going through as your second place, Bozilla and Akira Kuragane going through as your third place, meaning that the playoffs in Osaka will be Sourei and Miku Kunai against Bozilla and Akira Kuragane, and then Gorilla Trigger, who are replacing Anacon, against Saya Korora as well, with both BMI 2000 and the Mega Skyscrapers receiving buys through to the semifinals on the 30th of November. Right, let's talk then about that playoff show. And we are coming at you on the 29th of November, and an enormous house Stardom bought in to the Edion Arena Osaka number 2. 959 people. Stardom confirmed that to be a sellout. It's the highest attendance Stardom have drawn to the venue, having run it 57 times, with this being an 11.52% increase on their last house and previous best at the venue, which was 862 in September of 2025. It's the third highest attendance at the venue this year. There's been 34 shows at this venue this year. Only New Japan have drawn more to the Edion Arena Osaka number 2 on 2 different occasions, once for their Super Junior Tag League date there and once for the Best of the Super Juniors. This Tag League show does eclipse both of the Road to Wrestling Dontaku shows that New Japan ran there and the Fantastica Mania show New Japan ran there alongside CMLL. So a truly huge number for Stardom to run that. And again, Noah have drawn some great houses here. Dragon Gate have drawn some great houses here. All Japan have drawn some great houses here. Stardom have eclipsed all of them. And it is only 2 of New Japan's dates that have outdrawn this show. Again, going on to show just how big this house is. We open with a tag team match. The hate team of Saya Kamatani and Konami defeated Sourei and Sourei Ano. Saya Kamatani pinning Sourei Ano with a Star Crusher in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. In a three-way match, Megan Bayne defeated Hina and Rina, pinning Hina with a running powerbomb in 9 minutes and 4 seconds. In a tag team match, Dos Locas de Mexico, Tio Teleco and Osita defeated Momokogo and Kikyo Furusawa. Osita getting the pin over Momokogo with a swinging front face lock in 7 minutes and 17 seconds. 6-woman tag action, the Neo Genesis team of Azumi, Miyo Amasaki, and Mei Seira. They defeated Natsupoi, Yuna Mizumori, and Emma Maishima. Miyo Amasaki getting the win over Emma with a Tenzai in 8 minutes and 37 seconds. 6-woman tag action, the EXV team of Hanako, Rian, and Waka Tsukiyama. They defeated the God's Eye team of Amisori, Lady C, and Rani Yagami. Rian pinning Rani Yagami with the Hanaguruma in 10 minutes and 33 seconds. Big victory for Stone Cold Rian there. Tag team action, Mivida Loka, Suzu Suzuki and Rini Yamashita, and BMI 2000. That ended in a double countout in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. And then your 2 Goddess of Stardom playoff matches, Bozilla and Akira Kuragane defeated Sourei and Miku Kanai. Akira Kuragane getting the win over Miku with the half-hatch suplex in 15 minutes and 9 seconds to book a semi-final place against BMI 2000. And then in your main event, Blue Goddess action, Saya Kurora, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora, they defeated Gorilla Trigger, B. Priestley, and Saya Iida, with Aya Sakura pinning Saya with the Sakura latch in 13 minutes and 38 seconds. Matt, obviously, again, we're not going to spend a great deal of time on matches that aren't from the Tag League, but we'd be remiss for not talking a little bit about this match with Saya Kamatani facing her next 2 big opponents in one fell swoop.
You know, when this match was announced just about an hour or so after the show from the day before, it's like, yeah, you have Saya Kamatani in there with her next 2 big challengers. Oh, and the Wonder Stardom champion is in this match as well.
Mm-hmm.
Genius move on Stardom putting this on free on YouTube. This and the next match they put free on YouTube. Wish it would have went a little bit longer. This could have went 70 minutes. I would have wished it would have went longer. 7.5 minutes, not even. I understand what they were trying to do. Still really great. I gave it 4 stars. Ultimately, this was all about Saya Kamatani showing off really great stuff with Shuri. Konami got in there. We had some Konami and Shuri stuff, that'll never get old. But ultimately, it was about Saya Kamatani getting more heat on Soriano, cheating with the spray paint, hitting the Star Crusher, pinning Soriano in the middle of the ring, then cutting a little bit of a promo. So getting some more sympathy behind Soriano and getting some more heat on the Kamatani, leading into 2 massive matches that she is coming up over the next 3 or 4 weeks. 4 stars, again, only 7 minutes, still gave it 4 stars, but what a great star-studded way to start off a fantastic show.
And free on YouTube as well. Obviously, Megan Bayne against Hina and Rina. There was only going to be one winner of this, I fear, and it was indeed Megan Bayne who obliterated Hina with that running powerbomb.
Add Hina and Rina, along with the names of Bozilla and Shuri of singles matches I want to see Megan Bayne have, because I thought Rina and Hina were great. They obviously, Hina and Rina, they wrestled each other in parts in this match, and they kind of teamed up onto Megan Bayne. So if they ever want to pull the trigger on a Hina versus Rina team somewhere down the line, that clearly works. Obviously, they are twins. Ultimately, though, it was Megan Bayne kind of almost on a 2-on-1 onto Hina and Rina. But there were some really great segments with Megan versus Rina and Megan Bayne versus Hina. Rob, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. If you would have told me that you would have liked a 3-way that's got Hina, Rina, and Megan Bayne better than you would like a tag match that's got your IWGP champion, your number 1 contender, your red belt champion, and your white belt champion more, I would have said that you're crazy. This match, 4.25 stars. I absolutely love this. I don't know how they made this work, but they made it work, which just goes to show you what great wrestling. Again, Hina and Rina, obviously they're sisters. They know each other. They're twin sisters better than anybody. But the fact that like Megan Bayne absolutely knew how to lay out this match would just go to show you what a massive and great star Megan Bayne is. Again, 4.25 stars. I thought this was terrific.
Moving on then, Dos Locas de Mexico signing off with a big victory over Momokogo and Kikyo Furusawa. Matt, I hope this isn't the last. Obviously, I know that we saw DLM in the final, I know, but I mean, over the course of these two shows, I hope we do see more of DLM. I hope that obviously we do revert to FWC and we see them get a bigger push because obviously we love Hazuki, we love Koguma. But doing something different like this in a tag league where they knew they weren't going through, I think showcased a different side of them. And again, I thought they did very, very well wrestling a completely different style in masks for an entirety of a tournament.
Did you hear about the big brouhaha that happened at the end of this match, Rob?
Oh, I did not hear about the big
I
brouhaha.
cannot confirm or deny, but after Koguma was choked, or Momokogo was choked out, supposedly DML went to Momokogo and be like, "That's what you get for kicking our friends Suzuki and Koguma out of your little group." I cannot
Wow,
confirm
okay.
or deny. Obviously, I'm joking.
Huge scoops here on the Stardom cast.
Look out, my friend. Call me Raisin Bran because I have the scoops. Anywho, I don't know where that came from. That was an old commercial in the 80s when they would show them with the two
Amazing. Just showing your age now, buddy.
That's okay. I'm 43, but I act like I'm 9. Anywho,
Love it.
I totally see. Like, this DML stuff is really fun, but it's at the same time, and they're having really great matches doing different stuff. In the back of my head, it's like, I just want to see FWC. I just want to see FWC, but they can do it back from time to time. Not only that, Rob, but they have sold. If you follow Hazuki on Instagram, they sold a ton of merch and pictures and signed pictures as DML. So the fact that FWC is double dipping on the merch thing, good on them. Good on them. So fun match. Obviously, Kiko Furusawa, she's somebody that in 7-8 months, her star is just going to continue to shine. Again, she's wrestling, in my opinion, with the best roster in all of wrestling. Momo Kogo, she's so infectious. Everybody absolutely loves Momo Kogo. Really fun match that ultimately was just the teamwork that DML that put away Momo and Kikyo. 3 3/4 stars for me, good sir.
Turns out that all O2 line have to do to secure a victory is team up with Maika, Matt.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. This was fun. Obviously, you have Natsupoi in there with the Zumi. There wasn't too much Natsupoi in this match. She kind of played the hits and then kind of got out of the way so we can continue to build for that Yuna versus Maika match because that's what a majority of this match was about. Emma got a lot of stuff in as well. Really great stuff with Emma and Azumi and Emma and Maika. Again, said this for a couple times. I'm going to say it again. Emma needs to be in the high-speed division because she works really well with the high-speed wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
This was great. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was terrific. It was really great to see Miyu Amasaki pick up a big win. She couldn't get the win, Rob, the day before in her hometown. That we couldn't do that, but we'll give her a win here. Again, I mean, look who you're in the ring with. You know, you have really great talent across the board, and you have 3 of the most talented wrestlers in all of wrestling in this match with the Zumi, Maika, and Natsupoi. Obviously, Yuna's terrific. Miyu Amasaki is continuing to get better. And Emma, again, only wrestling about a year, is wrestling years above her experience. 4 stars, a really great match in the middle of the show.
We move on as EXV begin building their momentum ahead of that Artist of Stardom shot, which they will officially challenge for the next night at the finals. Matt, what were your thoughts on this?
This was great. Again, Ami, Sourei, and Lady C work really well as singles and as a tag. Rana Yugami is quickly becoming one of my favorite wrestlers on this loaded roster. Obviously, Hanako's terrific, and so is Waka and Parts, especially Waka getting her butt kicked by every member here of God's Eye.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, you got this mini match with Rana and Rian. In the last 2 or 3 minutes, this crowd was molten hot. Arguably, the hottest the crowd was for the entire show was towards the end of this match, which is saying something because the crowd was into everything. This crowd made this show. And this was a great show, don't get me wrong. They made a great show even better. It added so much to this. And this closing sequence with Rana and Rian was absolutely molten hot. And they in Stardom had the right pick on having Rian, pick up the win here. She hit basically what happens is she hits the stunner. No, she hits the apricot roll up for the 3 count onto Rana Yugami. Again, 4 stars for me. It was a really great story between 2 really great teams. Ultimately, for me, it was all about the story they were telling with Rian getting so over with the crowd. We've seen her starting getting more and more bigger reactions in Korakuen Hall, and for some of those matches in the 5-star Grand Prix, like the matches you have with Rena, Starlight Kid, Azumi, Again, Rihanna is somebody that is getting better in the ring. She's having more aura towards her. She definitely has her niche fan base online. That is for sure. I think, what do they call them? The Rionators? Is
The
that what
Rionators.
the Rionators?
Absolutely.
We're literally comparing her to
Rionators assemble.
That's right. That's right. From that old rap song from the 90s, showing your age, rap kid.
There you go.
But like the fact that we're comparing her to Stone Cold Steve Austin online, I mean, just great. It's absolutely great. You're getting 4 stars for me. This was terrific and a great way to build up Hanako and Waka and Rion for their upcoming Artist of Stardom Championship match coming up on Monday in Korakuen Hall.
You mentioned it before. Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita will not be bullied. Doesn't matter if it's the Goddess of Stardom champions. They play dirty, dirtier, some would say, than members of Hate at times.
Yeah, the one thing that we saw in this tag match that we didn't see during the tag league is they did the Rina and Suzu. They did the double drive-by. I thought that was really cool. I was like, oh man, I wish they would have done that more often. Once this match was over, I was like, they need to run this back for the tag belts in Korakuen Hall coming up either on the 7th or the 24th before Dream Queendom, because Korakuen Hall, as we know, have seen some violent matches throughout the years, not just in Stardom, but a lot of the hardcore stuff that Big Japan does. A lot of those crazy stuff does happen in Korakuen Hall. I think I tweeted out, I'm like, just do a no rules disqualification match in Korakuen Hall between these teams and let them settle it, because it went to the old double count out. I thought this was great. You're absolutely right. BMI 2000s, like, I would just pull our hate shenanigans on Suzu and Rina. And Rina's like, they're like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Again, this was really great. It was hard hitting, right up my alley. This wasn't the Midnights versus the Rock and Roll Express, nor did I want it to be, or nor did I need it to be. This needed to be smash mouth, in your face pro wrestling at its finest. And that's what we got between these 4 fantastic wrestlers. I had it at 4 stars, Rob. Little heartbroken that at the end of the tag league that Suzu and Rina, I believe they said that they won't be tagging up that much longer. But I thought they were terrific as a team, and I would love to see this one run back. Even if it's not for the belts, I would love to see this run back. No rules, just let them go absolutely haywire, because we know what Suzu can do. We know what Tora can do. You throw Ruaka in there, and obviously Rina Yamashita has experience in deathmatch wrestling. So I'm not saying they need to bring out the bed of nails or anything or set each other on fire like we saw with Blood and Guts, but I would love to see this one run back and like some more lax rules. Again, 4 stars for me. I thought this match really stood out on a show that had a lot of standout matches.
We then get into our 2 tag league playoff matches. Then we start in Red Goddess block. And yes, obviously, we saw that Bozilla and Akira Korakuen did make it through. It was Akira Korakuen that got the winning pinfall. You saw how much it meant to Bozilla. You saw the team chemistry between the two. And we got those ever so lovely teases of Bozilla versus Sourei, which is what we all want to see again, Matt Turner, isn't it? Because that match in Marigold was fantastic.
Not only was the match great, but the buildup, like the tag matches that they had in Marigold, were terrific. So we kind of knew going in, and they kind of teased a little bit on their basically their non-playoff match that they had about 2 weeks ago. They teased it quite a bit there, and like you knew going in, like, okay, Bozilla and Sourei, that's what we want to see. They were great, but they did a great job. What happened, bud? Did your team? Is your team winning?
Newcastle just scored against Tottenham. Yeah,
I thought either 2 things happened. Either you're totally excited for Sourei versus Bozilla.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was, but
I saw that. I know, buddy. I know your poker face. I know what pops you. Again, Sourei, where was it? Sourei and Bozilla is obviously, that's the money match we want going forward. Whether it happens on 1-3 or Osaka, it's a possibility maybe it happens at Dream Queendom, but I think we're both holding on to hope. Poi versus Sourei and Bozilla versus Megan Bain. However, if they kind of go left and give us Sourei versus Bozilla in Sumo Hall, I won't be too upset, my friend, because their stuff was great. However, when they laid this match out, whoever laid this match out, they were like, okay, we know that Sourei versus Bozilla is going to get over. Let's put the shine on Miku Kanai and Akira. That's what they did. As great as the Bozilla versus Sourei stuff was, as great as the Sourei and Miku Kanai tag stuff has been, as great as the chemistry that we now have with Bozilla and Akira has been, for me, the best parts of this match was Akira versus Miku Kanai. They gave him the ball. It's like, okay, we got you here. Here's this big platform. Show us what you can do. Miku Kanai the night before getting a win over Soriano. And then I think I won the Sendai Girls show. I think she pinned Miko Iwata. She has a big win over somebody in Sendai Girls like a few days prior. And then her and Akira having this mini match towards the end and absolutely blowing the roof off this place with almost 1,000 people there. I thought was chef's kiss. Really great stuff, Rob. This is one of my favorite matches of this tournament. Again, Sourei and Bozilla, they were great because they're terrific. For me, this match was all about the star-making match between Akira and Miku Kanai. Again, Stardom definitely has something that works for Miku Kanai. They wouldn't have put her in this position. Just be like, okay, we use the Stardom platform to get you over. Goodbye, thanks, see ya. Like no, like Miku Kanai is in a bigger light now, and she's going to continue to be in a bigger light. And a lot of it has to do of what happened in this tournament. And again, she's wrestling in Korakuen Hall coming up this Monday. Miku Kanai was great here. Akira was even better. 4.5 stars. One of my favorite matches of this tournament. This was all sorts of fantastic, buddy.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see Miku Kanai as Hanako's next challenger for the future bout.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, because she's only like a teenager, right? Or in her young 20s?
I think she's early 20s, but she's I think she qualifies for the future stipulations. So wouldn't surprise me if we see that maybe at Dream Queendom, maybe to open the show. I know I'd be really happy to see that because again, we'll be there, Matt Turner. But again, enough of that. Moving on. Oh, what's happened to the graphic?
You kind of overlap. It looks really cool. You have the red in the background.
How weird.
We'll leave. I do see Soriano on the bottom, so my guess is Sorry Port. Okay. Like, where's Waldo?
There you go. Don't know what's happened with that. But Saya Karora defeated Gorilla Trigger. Obviously, this was initially supposed to be Anacon, but never fear, because this was a great match again, Matt Turner. And I know there are a subsection of the fans who don't like the way Bea Priestley wrestles, don't appreciate her work, which is fair enough. Again, opinion is opinion. I thought she was great throughout this tournament, and I thought she was great here. I thought she had some really good sequences, especially with Iskora.
I thought Bea's been great since she came back. I thought the opening match with Yuna on night 1 of the 5 stars. She had those 2 great matches with Kamatani. Rob, I don't know if you listened to my solo part of the podcast last week. Oh, by the way, great job frankensteining those, because you did a great job entering me in. I was like, wow, I was driving my high school reunion, and I was like, oh, I'll listen to that. And I was like, wow, Rob did a banged up job on Frank. I was like, I'm going to throw it back to Matt. And I was like, wait a minute, what did I say at this point? Now, obviously, Rob, me and you come across we come across some funny stuff, just talking, like Mizumori living in a pineapple under the sea, or the Waka slide. Bea Priestley throws some great knee strikes, which we know is called the B trigger. I know.
No, you didn't accidentally. I know that you did that on purpose. You must have done.
I've called it now the bee's knees.
The bee's knees, absolutely.
I have a feeling that in a day or two, that after we drop this, we're going to have one of our fantastic fan arts of Bea Priestley throwing a knee with bees coming out of her knee pad. So that's what I want to see. This match was great. Again, I was really excited to see more Aya versus Shuri. Again, this is supposed to be Shuri and Saki Kashima. Aya and Shuri, because with the striking exchange we've seen in multi-person matches over the last few months. But this was still great. Again, Bea Priestley not really teaming up with Iida that much. Iida usually teaming with Hanan, or even before the tag league, teaming quite a bit with Momo Kogo. They made it work.
Oh, they made it work. Sake. Sorry,
there was some really good. What happened?
Tottenham have just scored. They've literally done nothing all game, and they've just scored. Of course they have. Anyway, sorry, Matt. Do carry on.
So what? Hold on. I need to know. So what is it? 1-1.
It's 1-1 now. Yeah.
Well, they did nothing all game. So what's the possibility that they do nothing again and score again, buddy? So that's probably not.
Don't do this to me. No need for that. No need for that.
It's gonna happen, buddy. It's gonna happen. That's the way I am. Anywho. I thought this match was great. Again, the great teamwork of Sayaka Kurora bailing out Aya Sakura when she gets in trouble in certain parts of the match, and vice versa. Whenever Sayaka would get in trouble, it would be Aya coming in for the save. So I thought that was really great stuff there. I liked how there was this one spot where Aya is just wailing on Iida, and she's going for the cherry blossoms, that kick trio. And then Iida ducks the big one. And by the time Aya turns around from missing the big roundhouse kick, there's Iida with a massive lariat, which was a great falsie, really great falsie. And then Iida hits another huge lariat on Aya Sakura for a 2.9 count. We do get this wheelbarrow DDT spot that Bea and Saya have been doing quite a bit in this tournament. And then we do see Sayaka Kurora. She comes in with the big spear onto Iida, again, making the save. And then she takes out Bea Priestley. And then we see the Sakura latch put on one Iida for the 3 count, 4 1/4 stars, a really great match to end a fantastic show as Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora go through to the next round, my friend.
Absolutely. To the semi-finals against the Mega Skyscrapers. And then you've obviously got on the other side of the bracket, BMI 2000 against Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. And to that final on the 30th of November is where we go next. And I've got to start by issuing a huge apology to those people listening, because I was under the impression, and I don't know whether this had been something that Stardom had put out and then retracted, or if I've just mistranslated something. I was under the impression that the finals were taking place at Act City Hamamatsu. Yet Stardom did release something just between these, or just before the show on the 29th, to say, please don't turn up to Act City Hamamatsu. That's not where the final is. Instead, it's at Hamamatsu City General Industrial Exhibition Hall. So it was at a different venue. And I don't know if I've just assumed it was Act City or if I'd read something that said it was Act City. But anyway, it wasn't at Act City. And clearly enough people knew it wasn't Act City because they sold out the venue. 1,026 people for the finals. This is the first time the company have run this venue, because ordinarily they run Act City. So there you go. Couple of interesting points just to go for here in terms of the final. Yuri Ahime returned to action on this show for the first time since the 16th of October, when an injury forced her to miss her singles match against Yuki Mashiro, if you remember, at New Blood 25. But that did lead us to Yuki Mashiro and Meisera, which was also very good. Saori Anou also was not present on this show. She was on the Oz Academy show in Nagoya, the Unbreakable Spirits show. So we'll go through the results then from this. Obviously, we've talked about Maika's return. We've talked about Poi and Sourei. So non-tag league matches will sort of whiz through a little bit. We opened with the Blue Goddess semi-final with Sayaka Kurora, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora defeating the Mega Skyscrapers, with Aya Sakura pinning Hanako with the Sakura latch in 10 minutes and 55 seconds as that feud continues to heat up. The Red Goddess semi-final match, BMI 2000, Tora and Ruaka defeated Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. Natsuko Tora pinning Bozilla in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Lots of shenanigans surrounding that, of course, but even so, Tora getting a win over Bozilla. Tag team action, Reckless Fantasy, Waka Tsukiyama and Rian, who had got an entire tag league at 0-7, get a pinfall win over Konami and Rina in 57 seconds. So there you go. Waka Tsukiyama pinning Rian. Three-way match, Suzu Suzuki defeating Lady C and Emma Maishima. Suzu getting the win over Emma with the Grand Maestro to Tequila in 4 minutes and 42 seconds. 6-woman tag match, Neo Genesis, Azumi, Mio Amasaki, and Meisera defeated Dos Locas de Mexico, Tia Taleco and Asita, and Kikyo Furusawa. Azumi pinning Kikyo with the Azumi Sushi in 5 minutes and 9 seconds. 8-woman tag match, God's Eye, Amisori, Tomoka Inaba, Kyoka Katatsu, and Hina. They defeated the Stars Quartet of Sayurita B. Priestley, the returning Yuri Ahime and Momo Kogo. Tomoka Inaba submitting Yuri Ahime with the Just Face Lock in 9 minutes and 24 seconds. Tag team match, the Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi and Unamiz Mori, or Fairy Pineapples, as I like to call them, defeated Sourei and Miku Kanai. Natsupoi pinning Miku with the Fairy Ring in 9 minutes and 30 seconds. Tag team semi-main event, the God's Eye team of Syuri and Rani Yagami defeated Saya Kamatani and Azusa Inaba. Syuri pinning Azusa Inaba with the Royen in 9 minutes and 44 seconds. And then in your final, Sayaka Kurora, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora defeated BMI 2000, that's Kotora and Ruaka. Sayaka Kurora pinning Tora in 17 minutes and 25 seconds to become your 2025 Goddesses of Stardom Tag League winners. Matt, obviously, again, great from Stardom to put both semifinals on the YouTube feed. Great way to get people to build up and buy the pay-per-view. What did you think of this Blue Goddess match and the continued feud between Hanako and Aya Sakura?
Yeah, they did a really good job making you want to see that big singles match with Ai and Hanako. We keep on getting teases of it over the last few weeks. I liked it how it was almost kind of Ai and Sayaka, they come in, they hit a quick double team on Megan Bain, and Megan Bain's like, okay, no problem. Double slams, double fall away slams, double stinger splashes. Like Megan Bain, for again, probably running on only a handful of hours of sleep, really worked a good majority of this match. It was just like she was really dominant to Ai and Sayaka. Eventually, we see Hanako come in, and then again, more Aya and Sayaka teamwork onto Hanako. Eventually, we see Aya with the rolling armbar into the triangle choke onto Hanako. Hanako kicks out with a rampage bomb. Really great stuff there. At one point in this match where Megan Bain accidentally clotheslines one Hanako, really kind of only little bit of mishap that Hanako and Megan Bain had in this entire tag tournament. We do see double dropkick send Megan and Hanako to the floor. And we saw this the last few matches that Aya and Sayaka done. We have like this double dive where Sayaka runs off the apron and Aya comes off the top rope. So I like how we're establishing like a tag team dive between Aya and Sayaka, very much like we do see with FWC. Excellent stuff there. Megan Bain and Hanako, they hit their signature stereo stalling suplexes. Shout outs to the late great Harley Race and Davey Boy Smith with those. And then they go for their version of the Doomsday device, the Skyfall. However, Aya Sakura is able to get out, rolls up Hanako, which I bid for a falsie for a 2.9 count. Sayaka comes in, hits a missile drop kick. That opens up the door for her tag partner to roll up Hanako with the Sakura latch, getting the 3 count. Great match to start the show. 4 stars for me. Really great reaction towards the finish. And again, very much like we saw the last few matches with Aya and Sayaka, one of the members opens up the door for the other one to get the finish. So again, really great teamwork. We see this quite a bit in the Stardom, with the upper echelon of the Stardom wrestlers, whether it's Iida and Hanan, Sourei, FWC, where we'll have the other wrestler come in, hit a big move, and open up the door for the other wrestler to get the win. That's just great old school tag team psychology. Again, great way to start the show. 4 stars for me.
Yeah, absolutely. They have, again, as I mentioned before, they've been a hugely bright light in this tournament. I think Hanako and Megan Bain have teamed really, really well together. Their chemistry has improved over the tournament. But for me, the reaction from the Hamamatsu crowd for Saya Karora, both in this match and indeed the final, really showed that Stardom made the right decision in putting these two over as the winners of the tag league proper. We then moved on to the red side of the bracket to see who would be taking on Saya Karora, and it would be, in fact, BMI 2000. This surprised me. Now, the reason it surprised me is that the winner of the tournament would probably be going on to face BMI 2000 anyway. So why give them a victory over BMI 2000 in the final?
Simple.
I mean, I imagine it's because BMI 2000 are going to retain at Dream Queendom and we're going to carry on with that story. But that being said, and also you've got heel versus face dynamic, I imagine, at the pay-per-view. But even so, I would have loved to have seen the story of Bozilla and Akira Kuragane culminate with at least participation in the final, because I think that, again, their story has been the most captivating. They have been, for me, aside from the great work Sourei Boy have done in ring, the really quite inventive stuff that DLM have been doing, Bozo and Akira Garni have been the best thing in Red Goddess.
You made a lot of good points, partner. And I'm going to kind of counterpoint here. Why didn't Bozilla and Akira go through? I thought it was a better story having Bozilla get the mist, and Akira not mad at Bozilla, very much like how Bozilla was mad at Akira every time that she dropped a fall. She was more concerned from her friend. And Rob I said the word friend, and he's so excited because me and Rob are friends because Newcastle is up 2-1 would be my guess, good sir. Do I have that right?
Yeah, Anthony Gordon's just scored a penalty, so there we go. Anyway, do continue. Sorry, I'm completely derailing this podcast.
No. I love the interaction too. Now I've got to get back on the train here. I like the story of Akira, more concerned of her friend getting the mist here. This match was good. Don't get me wrong. There was too much shenanigans for my liking, but I understand why you did it. One, you want to get BMI 2000 over as bigger cheating heels. You want to keep Bozilla strong because they had to cheat 84 times to pin Bozilla. But for me, the thing I'm always remember about this match is after Bozilla got the miss and got rolled up, Akira went over to check on Bozilla to make sure she was okay. The loss was secondary. It's like, okay, whatever, we lost, whatever. I'm more concerned with my friend, which that really shows growth on Akira's
It
part.
does, yeah.
So I like that. And again, we'll touch upon it when we get to the finals. I liked how the finals finish. You know how I'm always big when you have a big match. The finish should be 1, 2, 3. No, and we'll touch upon it more. We got a roll-up finish for the finish, what makes you want to see more, which you are getting in Dream Queendom. And they left stuff on the table because they make you want to go see more, which we're going to on the biggest show coming up at the end of the second biggest show of the year. So those are you made great points, but those are my counterpoints. Again, I really like this match, but it was all about the finish and just having Akira show sympathy towards both, not sympathy, but basically checking in on her friend. Again, I like the fact that we kept Bozilla strong because it was the hate crate, it was the mist, it was the pulling of the ref. It was like, oh my goodness, how much more can we do? But I understand why they did it. 3 3/4 stars for me, my friend. I would not be shocked if Akira and Bozilla do win the tag belts, maybe at that show in Osaka coming up at the beginning of the year, if BMI 2000 retain. If Iida and Sayaka do win at Queendom, I think they'll probably have a 4 or 5 month run. But I think if BMI 2000 does retain, I think Bozilla and Akira are the hot hand in the tag team division right now.
Yeah, because they do already have a win over them in the actual block.
That's right. You're right, buddy. Yeah.
Again, that they have got scope to revisit this. And again, I think this could easily be a Korakuen main event. Should BMI 2000 defeat Iida and Sayaka Kurora. Let's whiz through these non-title matches then, as we just have a quick look at what that final bracket looks like with BMI 2000 and Sayaka Kurora in the final. We then obviously had the 57-second match between Reckless Fantasy and Konami and Rina, which obviously set up both Maika's return and the Artist of Stardom challenge for EXV at Korakuen.
Yeah, again, these next 3 matches we're going to talk about, they went a total of a little over 10 minutes. So we're kind of just really whizzing through these here. Again, I like how they're keeping with the Waka 5-star Grand Prix storyline. Like these quick match, and it makes you buy into these falsies. It's just like they can end at any time, and they get the win here over the Artists of Stardom, 2/3 of the Artists of Stardom champions, and your Wonder of Stardom champion and Konami. Great way to set up the artist match because you know there's going to be a false finish in the first 60 to 90 seconds of Waka rolling up somebody, and you're going to bite on it because this is the hook they got you on. So I liked how they used this show to set that up the next show. Again, it's simple psychology. I didn't rate this match for obvious reasons, but I like what they set up again with the Maika return and the fact that I'm telling you, Rob, on Monday, we and over 1,000 people in Korakuen Hall are going to bite on a Waka falsie about a minute into the match. I'm telling you it's going to happen because they set the table here.
Obviously, the 3-way next, Suzu Suzuki getting the win over Emma Maishima with the Grand Maestro to Tequila. Matt, a good 3-way, not a great deal to talk about in terms of near misses or anything like that.
Yeah, not as good as the other 3-ways, with Megan Bain and the twins, and then obviously Momoko Yuna and Mei Sarah. Those two were like, wow, really absolute home runs. This was fun. Again, Emma more working the high-speed style. Give me a Suzu Suzuki versus Lady C, 10, 11-minute match. It's a one-on-one match. I'm all for that. 3 1/4 stars, fun enough stuff. It's nice seeing Suzu get a win here. It's nice seeing her healthy again. I know she's another one that ever since the right around the 5 stars been missing some shows due to illness. So it's nice seeing her back on shows and kicking ass. And I'm really interested. Obviously we talked about what's Starlight Kid going to do, what's Azumi going to do on Dream Queendom. I wonder what Suzu Suzuki's going to do. I hope they just don't put her in some random match, but she's absolutely fantastic. So interesting to see what Suzu Suzuki's build-up is going to be between now and Sumo Hall.
I imagine we're going to get a lot of those answers following Korakuen. Obviously, we have got the press conference coming up, but I think that challenges will be issued at Korakuen, and I certainly think we'll be getting a setup to Natsupoi and Sourei, which again we'll talk about in a moment. Again, Neo Genesis, all they needed to do O2 line again was team up with Mei Sarah. That is the magic trinity apparently to secure those victories.
Yeah, again, really great stuff here. Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, Mei Sarah, they obviously throwing Starlight Kid because she's next level. Any way that you slice up Neo Genesis, it absolutely works. Kikyo Furusawa, kind of knew once we saw the match graphic go up before the show started. I'm like, yeah, Kikyo's going to eat the fall here. But she had a really great showing. She was able to keep up with the high-speed intensity that is Miyu and of course Azumi and Mei Seira. Great stuff here with the FWC duo. I wouldn't mind seeing a tag match between either FWC, DML, or versus Azumi and Mei Seira because of the high speed connection they have. Some really great stuff there. I just wish it went a little bit longer. I know it's all about the tag league. 5 minutes, not enough time to tell their story, but as usual, partner, they maximize every second that they had. 3.5 stars, and good for Azumi getting a win. Good for Azumi getting a win. I'll never say no to
good
that.
for 5-star runner-up,
Yeah,
Azumi.
again, the greatest 5-star run in the history of the tournament, in my opinion, as far as match quality goes. Good for you, Azumi. Way to get a win in 5 minutes. Let's not forget how great she is.
Moving on, obviously the return of Yuri Ahemi, the return of Tomoka Inaba as well, who we haven't seen over the course of this tour. Neither have we seen Kyoko Katatsu, Matt. Great to see all of these women back in the ring, but especially great to see Yuri Ahemi.
Yeah, she was terrific here. I thought she had great stuff with Hina. That's I know they had a match for the Future Stardom Championship back in Korakuen Hall. I think that was the show that Uriah Hemi wore Mina Shirakawa's gear to, if my memory is correct. She was terrific here. Again, I'm going to sing the praises of Momo Kogo multi-person match. She maximized every second she had in there. Kikyo Furusawa, she's terrific. Better gear, Rob, as we mentioned the last few times.
Yeah.
Bea Priestley just seems to be so happy. So happy that she's back in Stardom. She had some sequences with Tomoka Inaba and Ami Sourei that I was like, those are single matches I want to see. Bea Priestley holds nothing back. It's like, I'm in Stardom. They hit hard. I can hit hard. She's just the bee's knees, buddy. Bea Priestley just is the bee's knees. Yes. So good. So good.
So poor.
How dare you, sir? How dare you, sir? Eventually, though, Tomoka Inaba submitting Uriah Hemi with basically her version of the stretch plum, little bit of Toshiaki Kawada. I noticed there. Again, really great to see Tomoka Inaba back. I know, again, she's on a show this weekend, or on Korakuen as well. So hopefully she's back in the Stardom rotation. Give us a Tomoka Inaba versus Suzu Suzuki singles match at Dream Queendom. We don't even need to build. Just put Suzu, Tomoka Inaba, and the tagline, why not? 3 3/4 stars for me. Really fun match.
Obviously, we've already talked a little bit about this match. Natsupoi challenging Sourei to a singles match, wanting to prove herself. Sourei basically fobs her off and says, why would I want to take on this version of Natsupoi? I saw you at Soreiism. You're not the Natsupoi that I want to fight. Natsupoi is not happy about this. And basically has the opportunity to prove herself at the upcoming Korakuen Hall show. A good match, Matt. I imagine if this does materialize, and let's face it, it absolutely is going to materialize, goodness gracious me, that match could literally steal the show.
Which is saying something. Yeah,
which is saying something.
What did you call the team of Natsupoi and Yuna?
Fairy Pineapples.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than the bee's knees. Not by much. Maybe a 2-to-1 advantage. See what I did there, partner?
Yes.
I'll tell you right now, buddy, this is my favorite match of the show. Considering the fact that this is all about the tag league, this was my favorite match of the show. What Sourei has done is I don't know if she realizes this, she is about to unlock Murder Pixie Natsupoi. And maybe a different level Murder Pixie Natsupoi. Because again, we know that Sourei and Natsupoi are, like in real life, like best friends. What do I say all the time, buddy? Your best friends, you're going to hit a little bit harder because it's an easy forgiveness, and then you can buy them a beer or a steak afterwards. Tag team work, this was great. This was a really cool false finish. Sourei hits the running double stomp onto Natsupoi, and that opens up the door for Miku Kunai to hit that corner-to-corner roll-up. And you bought it as a finish because Miku Kunai pinned Soriano 2 nights before with that same corner-to-corner roll-up. And again, it was a great way Sourei set it up. And then again, we get the double stomp onto Natsupoi. And then Sourei goes to the top rope and has a little extra stank on that top rope double stomp to her friend, Natsupoi. Natsupoi comes back with the Golden Gate swing and the Pharaoh gift onto Miku Kunai. Yuna Mizumori who was great in this match, don't get me wrong, but she's just like, you know what? I'm going to have some fun too. She comes in and hits this Stan Hansen-esque wicked lariat to Miku Kunai, and that opens up the door for Natsupoi to plant Miku Kunai in the middle of the ring with the Pharaoh ring. Again, buddy, my favorite match from the show, 4.25 stars.
We move on to the semi-main event. Sourei and Rani Yagami against Saya Kamatani and Azusa Inaba. Obviously, with Soriano not being on this card, it makes sense that Sourei and Saya Kamatani can add a little bit more to their Wrestle Kingdom feud. Matt, a good match. Again, at only 9 minutes and 44 seconds, I'm hoping we are going to see more down the line as Spurs, as Tottenham managed to equalize. Of course, they have 2 shots on target and they've scored 2 goals. What a horrible day to be a Newcastle fan.
Relax, but the game, it's only tied. It's only tied. How much time's left in the game?
I believe they are going to finish very, very shortly because Olanga's just booted the ball out of play. So, yeah, anyway, do continue, Matt, please.
Sorry that Rob is in a bad mood, but I'm in a good mood because we got another little bit of a preview of what we're going to see live, Rob. Relax. We are going to the Tokyo Dome, buddy.
We are going to
see that. See how I just boom, put that smile, turn that frown upside down. Again, really great sequence with Shuri and Saya Kamatani with the ground grappling, with Saya Kamatani getting away from Shuri's submissions, Shuri kind of getting away from Saya Kamatani's explosive offense, and then they have that kick exchange, which again, we only got a little bit of. Obviously, we're going to get, and hopefully we get a lot of that in the Tokyo Dome. Eventually, these two leaders of their, I know Saya Kamatani technically isn't the leader, but she's the leader. They basically kind of sit out and let Azusa Inaba and Rana have a singles match, and these two take advantage of this stage that they have. Rana and Azusa absolutely tore it up. Really great stuff. The kicks, the pumping knees, the forearms between the two. Excellent stuff there. And then we see Shuri comes in. She puts Saya Kamatani into an armbar, and then Azusa comes in, and she takes Shuri out with a pump knee and a knee bar to Shuri. Great stuff there. There's a really great sequence here with Shuri and Azusa Inaba. Eventually, though, it is Shuri building a little bit more momentum on the way to the Tokyo Dome, planting young Azusa Inaba in the middle of the ring with the Ruin. 4 stars for me, a really great showcase for Shuri versus Saya Kamatani, but some really great stuff we saw with Rana and Azusa Inaba as well.
We move on then to the Tag League final. BMI 2000 succumbing to the power of Dream Shine that is Saya Karora. I was going to say Sakura Demon. Saya Karora. Matt, a really good Tag League final. And again, another great spotlight for Saya Karora. Face versus heel, basics, and the Hamamatsu crowd reacted really, really well to them.
Yeah, you knew what you're going to get. You have your cheating heels that have the experience. They're the tag champs. They have more people on the outside, and you have your underneath baby faces of Iida and Sayaka, considering they had to wrestle one more match than BMI 2000, because BMI 2000 was the #1 seed. So, again, this gets over the tag belts because, again, Tora and Ruaka makes sense in a kayfabe and a shoot aspect because, well, they're the tag champs, so technically they're the best team in Stardom. So they make it all the way to the finals. And I'm watching this match about halfway through, and I was like, I think Iida and Sayaka are going to take this because of the way that the crowd is so behind Iida and Sayaka. Like, you don't set this up the way they do, especially with BMI 2000 cheating in the match prior. You don't do that not unless you're building to give the fans the big pop at the end. So I'm halfway through this match, and I'm watching. I'm like, we're probably going to get this rematch in Sumo Hall, but why would I want to see it again that fast? And I was even thinking, I bet you this is going to end in some sort of roll up, so we don't get the big 1, 2, 3. And I made mention when Poi beat Soriano to win the Wonder Belt last summer. It's a great match, but when you have a title change in the main event of your show, the finish needs to be the big 1, 2, 3, not a quick roll up. And I'm like, I would be happy if this ends in a quick roll up because it's going to make you want to see more. Rob, there's this one part where Rina passes along the mist to Tora, and the cameraman catches it, very much like they caught Maika cutting herself at Dream Queendom last year. And I was like, I don't know if that was supposed to happen, but then I realized it was supposed to happen because Tora goes for the mist and completely misses, and Sayaka hits this huge spear. I absolutely love that spot because it made you very much like when you're seeing American wrestling and the heels are doing the run-ins and the cheating. The ref doesn't see it, but you want all the fans to see it because then you want to be like, hey, ref, turn around. That person's cheating, or they have a chair or whatever. When Tora, very much like Kagetsu used to do it, we never see the mist coming. You never want to miss the mist, as you coined a phrase, Rob. That's another really good Robism. You never want to miss the mist. But the cameraman was so blatant. I was like, wait a minute. Didn't anybody signal the cameraman, don't catch this? But I was like, oh, They did, because what happened? Sayaka ducks the miss, because we saw Tora do it to Bozilla, and the crowd poo-pooed on it on the way they're supposed to, in a good way. She ducks the miss, and Sayaka hits this huge spear. The crowd goes ballistic. 1, 2, oh, they want that to be the finish, because it was almost like Tora used cheating, and it almost cost them. And again, Sayaka's doing a great job getting the spear over. Ruaka comes in, hits a big lariat, and then Tora hits the DVD onto Sayaka Kurora. Tora goes to the top rope. She goes to use the same move that she beat Maika a year prior to win the red belt, the top rope swanton bomb. However, it is Sayaka Kurora dodging out of the way, and then we get some roll-ups back and forth between the two, and I'm like, man, this should be the finish. And it was. Eventually, Sayaka is able to just get the advantage for just a half a second more than Tora, getting the 3 count. I thought this was a really, really solid match with a great closing sequence, with Tora trying to cheat, doesn't work, and then we almost get some great teamwork that puts away Sayaka Kurora. Does not happen. Sayaka Kurora getting the win over Natsuka Tora. Rob, obviously I and Saya win this tournament. Sayaka Kurora winning the Cinderella tournament. She is in the same category as Mayu Iwatani back in 2015, winning the Cinderella tournament and part of Thunder Rock, winning the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. In the same category, Momo Watanabe winning the 2018 Cinderella tournament, and Momo winning the Tag League with Utami back in 2018. In the same category with Arisa Hoshinki winning the 2019 Cinderella tournament and part of Dream Shine with Tam Nakano, and Hanan last year winning the Cinderella tournament and the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. So Sayaka joining Mayu, Momo, Arisa, and Hanan. Only 5 wrestlers in the almost 15-year history of Stardom have won the Cinderella tournament and the Goddess of Stardom Tag League in the same calendar year. So what a great coup that is for one Sayaka Kurora to be mentioned in those names, partner.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's capped off a wonderful year for Sayaka Kurora. Again, it'll be even better for her if she wins the tag belts on the last show of the year. But again, to be put into the same bracket as those women to finish off the year, having won the Cinderella, having had that great match against Saya Kamitani for the red belt, and then winning the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. It's been a really, truly fantastic year for Sayaka Kurora. Matt, I'm going to suggest that we leave our countdowns till next week, simply because we've only got the Korakuen Hall show to talk about next week. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind everyone that the Korakuen Hall show, we have already been through that card. Again, Maika back, EXV challenging for the artist belts, and we will have a Wonder of Stardom championship match decided for Dream Queendom through that number 1 contendership match. Will it be Iida? Will it be Sourei? We will find out on Monday. Mr. Matt Turner, that leaves us just 1 point to go through, and that is, of course, Io and Kairi.
Yeah, we're going to go through 2 segments here. We had War Games on Saturday, and then a great tag match on the main event on Monday Night Raw. And again, shout outs to Darren Chatton for helping me out with time cues with Monday Night Raw. So War Games opened up with the women's War Games match. And Rob, quick 2 points I want to make before I get into this match. I'm going to go through kind of just the quick beats. I didn't realize until a few days before that they did this in a baseball stadium. Like, we have seen WrestleMania, SummerSlam, some of the big shows they do overseas, the Royal Rumble, and these big stadium shows. Survivor Series had 45,000 paid tickets. That's crazy for no title matches, just the War Games and a couple, like no big championship matches. None of that. Charlotte Flair had her gear designed by like a 7 or 8-year-old kid that is battling, I think, brain cancer, which that just tugs at your heartstrings. And it looked great. She looked great. There was some great stuff. Io comes out second. So we have some double teamwork with Io and Charlotte Flair onto Asuka. We had some quick segments, one-on-one segments with Io and Asuka, which to the shock of nobody was great. Eventually, Kairi, she comes into her old theme, and she comes in with a chain. She goes off the top rope and just smashes everybody with this chain. She seemed like she was having the time of her life. Eventually, we do have Rhea. She comes in the ring. We have great Rhea and Io teamwork. It was very reminiscent of, for me, being an ECW kid, of Sabu and Van Dam, where they would set each other up with the trash can, and it would be like a baseball slide. Like, you would always see that Sabu and Van Dam stuff, like using the chair, with some really, really great stuff there. Then, of course, Rob, obviously the clip that went viral was Io doing the swanton with the trash can off. You knew she was going to do it off the
Mhm.
top of the cage. This is the first time because I believe so. Obviously, Io's been in every War Games. Every War Game, she's done something crazy, but there's no ceiling because, again, it's a baseball stadium. And there's a really cool thing where AJ, I don't know if they meant to do this, Io gets on top of the cage and she's asking AJ to give the trash can, and AJ can't reach. And then Rhea comes over and picks up AJ Lee like on her shoulders to give Io the trash can. Now, Rob, I do want to point this out because obviously this show is on ESPN. All the PLEs are on ESPN. This show happened on a Saturday. In America, the two biggest watch sports are the NFL, National Football League, and college football. That those happen on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. So on SportsCenter, which is ESPN's flagship show, on SportsCenter on Saturday and Sunday, we're previewing and reviewing college and the NFL football, where they showed this clip of Io doing the swanton of the trash can over and over again during these previews and reviews of the NFL, literally to the point where ESPN put it on their social medias and tweeted it out. So Io is definitely coming across as a much bigger star than she already is. So good for one Io. Eventually, though, we do have Asuka accidentally missed one last legend. Again, that leads to the Io Swanton off the cage. We have Rhea hitting the Riptide onto Becky Lynch. That opens the door for AJ Lee to hit the Black Widow onto Becky Lynch, forcing the tap out. A really great match. 4.25 stars for me. I thought this was absolutely all sorts of terrific. Rob, when we go to Monday Night Raw, we get an opening promo with Io and Rhea basically saying they're coming after the tag titles, which are held by Asuka and Kairi, the Kabuki Warriors. That sends out Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss saying, we never got our rematch for the tag belts. We're going to wrestle in the main event tonight on Monday Night Raw. So we kind of have an impromptu number one contenders match with Rhea and Io versus Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. We get some great Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss teamwork onto Io early on. Io is able to come back with the Casadora double stomp onto Charlotte Flair. We do see Rhea Ripley. She comes in and locks Alexa Bliss into the prison lock. There was some great, you know me, buddy, I love rules. Io holding onto the tag rope, and you can see her holding onto the tag rope, like cheering on Rhea. I was like, good for you, Io, because you're not breaking the rules. You're being very energetic. The crowd absolutely loves you, and you're holding onto the tag rope. I literally wrote a note, Io, 5 stars on holding the tag rope. Thank you, Io. There's this great combination that Rhea hits a German suplex onto Alexa Bliss, and then Io hits a 619 onto Alexa, and then Rhea hits this brutal running knee strike, scoring Rhea a 2.9 count onto one Alexa Bliss. We get a great form exchange between Io and Alexa. I want to see that singles match. I thought their stuff was great. Eventually, Io and Alexa, they take each other out, and then we get back to Rhea and Charlotte Flair. These two absolutely tore it up, if you remember, back at WrestleMania 39 2 years ago. So we get some great flashes back to their great match back in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Rhea hits the razor's edge onto Charlotte Flair, and then Io follows up with a missile dropkick that scores Io a 2 count. Charlotte Flair then counters the Riptide with a DDT onto one Rhea Ripley. Then Alexa Bliss comes in. She hits a spiked DDT, a very Miyu Amasaki spiked DDT onto Rhea, scoring Alexa a 2 count. Charlotte Flair comes in. She hits the natural selection onto Io, and then Alexa Bliss follows that up with the Sister Abigail. So great teamwork from both these teams. Rhea breaks up the Sister Abigail pinfall at 2.9. We do see then Io. She comes in. We got the missile dropkick from Io, and then Rhea hits the Riptide onto Alexa Bliss. And then Io follows it up with the moonsault. However, Charlotte Flair breaks that up at a 2.9 count. Then here comes the Kabuki Warriors. They cause a DQ. And then Lila, Valkyria, and Bailey, they come in for the save. However, they are interrupted by Judgment Day's Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. They take out everyone as Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne Perez close out the show. They stand tall because they drop everybody. Great match, great tag team symmetry between these two teams. 4.25 stars for me. They've done a great job building up the women's tag division over these last few shows.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of our podcast. We hope you have enjoyed it. Don't forget, next week we will be reviewing the Korakuen Hall show. We will also, hopefully, have a little bit of news regarding the press conference because we're recording on a Thursday, and a press conference will happen before we record. We'll also give you our countdown of top five matches from this year's Tag League. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We truly do appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're literally everywhere. Patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for all sorts of bonus content for as little as $1 a month. You can follow us on social media at the Stardom Cast, unless it is Instagram, Talk, Threads, or Blue Sky, where we are Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter. It's at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, please, good sir, sign us off.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Folks, don't forget to log on to Amazon, type in Rob Goodwin, yes, that Rob Goodwin, and get his new book, Building Blocks, 50 of Wrestling's Greatest Matches. And while you're there, if you haven't picked them up yet, pick up Chasing the Dream and Living the Dream. And if you already picked them up, pick them up again, because why not? You can never have too much of a good thing. And folks, if you forget where you can find those books, you email me as well. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team League, the 15th edition of it. Hope you guys enjoyed all the action as much as we did as we wrap up another great episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. You know, all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.